No major rush. Hello, chat. All right, you should see me now. I have to figure out which way. Okay, camera's there. And then let me figure out the green screen. I should have had that on already. There we go. And then move the chat over. Whoop, not me. The chat. All right. Why am I transparent? I should not be transparent. 1 second. Why am I transparent? That should be at 0. Where is? Oh, nope, don't do that. Smooth this? Okay, that's kind of a little bit. Sure, that's good enough for now. There, that fixes it probably. Okay. Let's see, what are you guys saying? Thank you for streaming tonight. Yes, I needed something to do. Also, I'm still working on stuff, but I haven't streamed in a while, so we gotta do that first. So how did this get turned again? This camera, I swear to God. All right. Oh, now that doesn't cover the, there we go. Okay. Yeah, good to see you guys again. All right, so we have, I shouldn't be maxing out the mic. So today we have a guest with us that I'll be talking with, possibly a third person we'll get on later. But if you are in the Railfan community, or if you know of General Train YouTube-ish, you should know who tonight's person is, aka Worldwide Railfan, aka Sam. Hey Sam, you here? Oh, wait, I gotta turn on desktop audio. Okay, now say it.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
I'm here.
So yeah, we're just... Oh, yeah. I have multiple Conrail hats I found on eBay, so my collection is growing very slowly. I'm gonna fix this. I swear, every time I do the green screen, I can never get the settings just for, okay, it's similarity, that's the, okay, now I'm not that as opaque. All right. Okay, let's see. What can we do about SEPTA? We'll talk about that. Also, let me turn down my mic so I don't keep maxing it out. See, we got the hat and we got the little glass today, too. Oh, wait, that's not in frame. There we go. Opinion on the Northeast Corridor grants. Well, whichever ones are in currently are probably the ones that are going to be the ones that happen. I don't know. Sam, do you have opinions?
I'm with you on that.
Uh,
the next 4 years.
Yeah. Oh, wait, where was I? Gotta move.
They say my mic is quiet. Can you guys hear me?
Let me turn you up in Discord. Maybe that'll help.
Alright.
All right, try speaking now.
Hello.
Okay, that might be better.
Let's see. Hopefully.
Let's see. What are you all saying? The app you recommended last stream is great because tracking MARC trains is non-existent. Yes. So for anyone that's wondering what we're talking about, let me go to my browser. Here we go. So this is a site called trackyourtransit.com/railviewer. And it basically has every large commuter rail system and Amtrak system on one site, which is kind of cool. So for example, obviously here in Philadelphia, you can see all the SEPTA trains going through our tunnel in the center of the city. You can see the river line across the river. And then if you scroll up far enough, you can see, oh, it seems NJT is not existing currently, or there at least seems to be a very large problem with their tracking. NJT is like anyone that works for them or anyone that has to interface with their systems know that they're one of the hardest to get working correctly, because their trains were working fine on this a day ago, literally. But yes, there's some MARC trains on this. All the WMATA's on here, and I think even VRE. Yeah, even VRE is on here.
Oh,
And
it
then
has rapid transit and commuter rail.
it has some rapid transit. Like if you go up to
Oh.
Boston, it's only commuter rail.
Um,
It's only, I think, the Great Society metros that have proper GTFS tracking. Like there's all of
oh yeah.
Long Island Railroad and stuff like that. Some of the other systems are on here, like obviously Via's on here. Go is not on here yet. I don't think EXO is on here. Oh, look, the Adirondacks just getting to Montreal. Only 6 minutes late, not bad.
Oh,
Mark, yeah, Mark's on here, and you can select lines like I did with this one, where you can see the individual lines and whatnot, which I think you can pull up on one of these tabs. It has not only Northeast, but it has Chicago, so of course you have Metra, and then it even has MetroLink. Sometimes that seems to be working also half the time. It was on there last time. It doesn't have Caltrain or any of the other ones, or any of their West Coast like Sounder. But all the big systems like Metra and whatnot are on here.
I don't know if
Uh,
Caltrain do they have I don't know if they have active tracking like with the new trains. They have a map, but when I was out there, the EMUs didn't track.
I don't know if they had it on the old ones either.
Oh.
Does it have Tri-Rail? I don't think it has any Florida services except for Amtrak. Yeah, only Amtrak. Brightline apparently has some weird tracking system, which I don't exactly know if it works. Apparently, there is a site. I don't know exactly how it works, but apparently they do have tracking, and no one else has been able to figure out how it works. So, mystery.
Yeah, mysterious realm.
Yeah.
I don't know
So,
if
for
it's still this way, but I know on the schedule, like they don't have a formal timetable. You have to like go on their booking website.
Colba in chat says Amtracker tracks Brightline, which Amtracker is another program that's made by a friend of mine. Um, and then, what was it? I'm catching up on chat. Oh, Amtrak. Yeah, Amtrak is back in Montreal. Um, let's see. Yeah, no. I meant to take. I was in Montreal in August, and I meant to take Amtrak, but the whole thing with the CN, I think it's CN. Um, where is it? So what we're talking about is the second you cross from the United States into Canada, railroads get worse, and that's impressive. Essentially, why is because here at Roush's Point, you cross in and you go from CPKC to Canadian National, and this Canadian National line here, this branch line here, is used very little by actual freight. So there's little incentive for them to upkeep this track. It's mainly just for the the Adirondack, which uses this to go over here and then eventually go into Montreal Grand Central. And so because of that, this line for a very long time has been like jointed rail with a maximum speed of like 25 or 30 miles an hour. And the Adirondack, I think, takes about 7 hours, or no, it's like 6.5 or 7 hours to go from New York to the border. And then from the border to Montreal, so a very small fraction of the journey takes another like hour and a half, which is insane. And it's crazy that's apparently we are paying CN to upgrade it. So like there is a transaction of money between the United States and Canada so we can fix their passenger rail.
Wow. Was
Yeah.
it that's all like track it's all jointed rail and it's got like greenery on it. You know what I mean? It looks like a rail
Oh,
trail almost.
yeah. Let me try to find. Come on, Google Maps. Let's go. You gonna load? There we go. Okay. So you go to the border here on Google Maps, and then you can essentially. I don't know if the Google Street View is updated, but you can go and look at this stuff. But you can essentially see like the ties look old. There, you can see the joints, and you can also see it kind of wiggling. So definitely not the best track conditions. This is a relatively new view from, or not too new, but 2 years ago. This is a more busy road. This should have a newer view on it. Apparently they were going to weld it, but I don't think so. Yeah, this is still all jointed rail. And those ties look very tired.
Oh,
You seeing what I was pointing out?
yeah. No, for any of the New Englanders in the chat, this should ring a bell. This looks like Pan Am.
This section, this is July 2023, so it looks like it's been rehabbed a little bit, but it's still like the problem is that not only when you rehab a line do you need to actually do the maintenance and upkeep it, but you also have to recertify it for every speed that you want to run.
Oh,
And
yeah,
s-
that's true.
and so even if everything is fixed on this, you eventually have to recertify it for different speeds. Let's see it crossing this Canadian Strode here. Yeah, some plants growing on it. It doesn't look. It's not the worst track I've ever seen, but it's also like not. Like it's not mainline quality. Um,
Yeah.
this corner here is so funny because like the whole line could be pretty fast except for this point on the line. Go away, Steam notification. Thank you.
How many trains does CN run on this? It's just the one Amtrak in each direction a day.
They run like 2 freight trains a week or something like that.
Oh, okay. Me
Yeah.
thinking it was like a full like major main line.
Well, if you look at the rail guide, you can see, for the most part, anything that comes down this line either ends up on, I think this is the Vermont system, or what is it called, New England Central, or CPKC. So for the most part,
Yeah.
CN really has no reason to send much down this because anything that comes down this is just interchanging with someone else.
Yeah. There's even
Um,
parts of the New England Central that are good for like I think 50, 60 mile an hour.
oh,
Don't
60,
quote me
yeah.
on it, but I know. Yeah.
I know it's 60 because there was a private charter car group that did like a whole thing recently on this, and they ran on some of the
Yeah.
system that no other trains run, and they were doing like 40, 60 miles an hour in different parts of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right. Is it a Parco where they get all the private cars together and charter them with Amtrak?
Yep. Actually, I could pull up some images from that. Basically, they did their tour, and then I was invited to go on board on the Burlington to Albany section, but for various reasons, including relationship issues, I did not go. But I was able to make it to visit them when they were in Albany to visit all of the cars there. Let me try to find the pictures from that. Back to webcam, my beautiful face, and then pull up the pictures. Just need to make sure I'm not going to show anything that I shouldn't be showing, which is mainly railroad related stuff. Because the weirdest part about private car stuff, if you guys ever interact with it, is the for the fact you just get to walk through rail yards a lot of times, and you're like, should I be here? Where let me see if there's anything in this album I shouldn't be showing. No, because all the spicy stuff is on the. Oh wait, there's an Amtrak locomotive in that. it's whatever. Apparently, there's a thing is when you're in an Amtrak yard and you take like a picture while you're standing in the Amtrak yard. Apparently, some people at Amtrak have an issue with that. I don't know. It's one of those weird rules that some people care about and some people don't.
Yeah.
But let me just pull this up. Browser. So I was invited on. This is the Blue Ridge Club, which is owned by Bill Gray, and they do charters on this. The Blue Ridge Club is an ex CNO, whatchamacallit, tavern sleeper, excuse me. So this is the tavern section, and you'll notice all over the car, they have little chassis, like either memorabilia or actual, like, there is like actual CNO logos from the era in this car, still stamped in a lot of the metal. Also the bed sheets, of course. This was one of the other, this is an ACF dome car that was in the consist. This is just parked in the yard. A lot of there's Bill here. He's in the bottom in the jean jacket. He's very cool. This is looking off the back of the, this is NYC something something. It's an old Vanderbilt car. It's big heavyweight. It's got 6 axles. But you can see one of the Jeeps that's painted in the new Phase 7 look, which I don't know if I like that much. Do you have opinions on that?
No, I'm a fan. I like it. I'm working on a bunch of Amtrak videos. One of them is about the new Amtrak Jeeps and their work trains and whatnot, and how they're replacing like 30, 40-year-old work engines, sometimes older, with, again, 30, 40-year-old work engines.
Yeah.
Another one is just talking about Amtrak's new, like, corporate look, I guess. I'm a fan. I think it looks... I like the pre-production paint scheme more, honestly, with the chevron on the end. This one looks like a Pepsi, like a modern Pepsi can to me.
Huh. I didn't think about that.
I know, I don't like the swoop thing.
Yeah, I don't think the swoop works for the... Well, people... I've had multiple people call these things the Crest toothpaste locomotives.
Oh, yeah, they look like that, too.
And I've had like multiple people. Once I've heard that, I'm like, I can't unhear that or unsee that.
Yeah, that'll happen. I'm interested to see how that paint will look on the sprinters, because they have the cabs on both ends.
Yes,
because it's a very directional paint scheme. I'm interested if they'll do 2 swoops in
I
opposing
assume,
directions, or if it'll be weird.
I assume they just do the swoop on the front of the locomotive, like, you know what I mean, along with the body curve. But I don't know.
Yeah. That could be true. It would be kind of cool if it was like one end has the dark blue, one has the lighter blue, but that would be kind of strange.
So one thing that I've heard is that the Phase 6 scheme, which was kind of like an in-between one, I heard that the Phase 6 scheme was championed by Richard Anderson, which, if anyone knows who he is, that kind of rings alarm bells, because he was not that well favored as a CEO by the actual people in the railroad. So when when he was kicked out, there was sort of the competing scheme to Phase 6 was Phase 7. And so everyone at Amtrak just agreed we should do Phase 7 because Anderson's gone and he liked Phase 6. Which,
they
sure.
just chose this paint scheme despite him, kind of?
Yes. I
always heard that...
What'd you hear?
Oh, I always heard that that the Phase 6 was, like, designed in-house, because there was the group the outside group that they contracted out to design this new livery, like, didn't have it done in time, and that's why the first, like, 8 or something of the new Chargers were painted in Phase 6 versus the 7.
I mainly heard that yeah, I don't know. Well, it would, maybe it makes sense that, I'd have to find someone that would actually, like, it was in part of this, because, like, allegedly, these were 2 competing paint schemes internally, and Anderson really liked 6 versus 7, and 6 was chosen because he liked it. And then when he was kicked out, like, within 6 or 7 months of the first few being painted, then they changed it. So I don't know. I like
When was it
phase.
that Anderson left?
I think 2021. I think
Oh, okay. I thought he was out a lot sooner than that.
it
Okay.
was either 2020 or 2021. Um,
Yeah.
but the what was it? The I personally like six better because I think that hard lines on locomotives look better, especially they age better than swoops.
I completely agree.
Yeah. Also, a cursed item of knowledge. The Phase Five like swoopy thing on the top of Genesises are it's different from every single locomotive to one another. It is
I was gonna
hand.
say if you look at oh sorry, continue.
I was gonna say it's hand done. It's every single one of those locomotives. There's no stencil. Every single one is hand done, and they all look different if you look at them close enough. But yeah, what were you saying?
The I think it's 46. Whichever one has it's phase 5, but it has the anniversary thing on the side.
Yeah.
On one of the sides, it's like the swoop that comes down is like flat on the bottom for like a lot longer than it should be. Like yeah, there's some where it looks pretty terrible.
Yeah, and it's funny because apparently certain ones were painted at different shops, and you can sort of tell which shop was the one that painted it by how
Yeah.
like screwed up or how different the swoop looks. I don't know. Yeah, this was the NYC Vanderbilt car. Kind of looked cool in the interior. I can't imagine how much this thing rattles at speed. Of course, a picture of the streamlined Hudson on the inside. And then, yeah, the NYC3 car. What was the thoughts on the Hochul restarting congestion pricing in January? Mass Pike Alston projects. All right, well, I'm very happy that they restarted congestion pricing. I'm a bit disappointed it's $9 and not 15. I have no idea what the Mass Pike Alston project is.
I can
Maybe.
speak on that.
Yeah,
I
you
think
go.
that's so in Boston they have the Mass Pike coming out of Boston, which is like I-90, and I'm not sure if this is exactly the part we're talking about, but there's near the old rail yard. So in like Alston, it kind of swoops over the old rail yard, and there's this kind of like viaduct thing,
Is that south or
a little
north of
to the
Boston?
west where you're at, a little
Okay.
west of Boston.
Uh, Let me just type in Alston because I'm lost.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was a little
okay.
delayed on my end, so I can't really.
Ah, I got it.
There
Okay.
you go. Yeah. Yeah, the pike kind of comes around the yard, and it has the old the toll gantries. I think um, I'm not sure exactly what the plan is, but they want to kind of do like a quote unquote big dig part 2 where they move Mass Pike so that's more straight, the alignment's more straight, and they either get rid of or build a new viaduct kind of east of where the old yard is. It's an interesting thing because I know so Harvard bought all the land that's the yard there, and they ripped out the tracks in like 2013 or something. Like CSX, they don't run freight to Boston anymore. It's like 45 miles outside of the city, and they truck everything in. Whole different issue. But I think they want to straighten the alignment there and develop that into student housing or something for Harvard. But right now they have trains running out of that yard with like contaminated dirt and like asbestos and whatnot.
Ugh.
Um, yeah, they've reactivated the yard after ripping out the tracks like 5 years ago.
What are they using the yard for?
Right now it's just a bunch of empty tracks, short of the as from 2022. So this is probably before they put in the staging area for. There's a little bit of maintenance away that they park there, as you can kind of see. But they built this like staging area where they can load these containers onto flat cars.
Let me see if I can see something from Google Street View.
Yeah.
Those look like garbage trains. Oh, this is new, August
There you go.
2024. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's the dirty dirt trains.
Um,
Yeah, I think the core of it is they're straightening out the highway alignment and then redeveloping the old rail yard. But I don't know. My opinions on it. They should have never pulled out the yard in the first place. Because if you ever drive on the Pike during rush hour or even at like 1 in the morning, there is just like containers that come off the trains in Worcester and get driven like through the city. Especially for 90 where this is, there's not a ton of it. But if you go on like 495, little city, or even like five belt on the outskirts of the city.
Yeah.
There's a good amount of like container traffic that comes from the intermodal yards outside of the city, like Ayer and Worcester.
Huh. It's so making it some sort of like the hard part is it's definitely not that big of a yard because let's see how long is it.
Yeah,
It's only 3,000 feet long, so like you could get some smaller container trains in there, at least break them up and then possibly unload them. But I know that modern Class One logistics they would not like to move
yeah,
container trains into that. Oh, there's
yeah.
even a
No, it was
loop
always
here
an
at one
interesting
point.
operation. Yeah, up there was that was the balloon track. There was fuel pads there, a small engine shop, and then there's the balloon track there. And
Huh.
Houghton Chemical there, they used to get tank cars up until probably like 2019.
Damn. This this
Like it
highway
was,
stuff.
it's all connected to the Grand Junction track, which goes through Cambridge.
Oh, the one where there's yeah, the bridge under the bridge. Yeah.
Yep.
Isn't there something with that where it's like that's going to become inoperable for like a period of time or something?
Yeah, I've heard stuff about that. I forget. I think it's for some sort of construction at MIT, I believe. And so they're gonna have to. I mean, that line doesn't really see any traffic anymore. Like it doesn't see any freight traffic.
They just move Amtrak
It's
and
these.
MBTA stuff in between, right?
Right, right. It's just for equipment moves. And so what they're gonna have to do, and they've done this a few times. They did this in 2018, is they detour stuff. So it goes out of Boston. It goes instead of like through Cambridge, it goes all the way out to Worcester, and then goes up that CSX line, the Worcester sub, up to Air, and then takes the Fitchburg line back in. So it's like 10 times the distance to go from
Oh, I see. There's like
Boston
a
to south of Boston.
right here. Okay.
Yeah, and then it goes. That's the Pan Am. That's an intermodal. That's the other intermodal terminal that a lot of these containers come out of.
I see. They had some
It
small
goes through there.
intermodal yards, huh?
Yeah, no, Massachusetts has. I mean, Worcester's pretty big. That's just a super long yard. But yeah, Beacon Park, the Boston one, they used to have like pretty small yard for a good amount of intermodal, and then Air is like I think only two tracks or something. As for
Huh.
intermodal.
Makes sense. Uh,
Yeah.
so I heard that they want to extend the red line out again to along the one. Hold on, I got a classic owners. They want to extend the red line out along this B and M one to like Lexington or something. Because the
I've
red.
heard that they at least want to bring it back to Arlington because Arlington is like they had transit there for a little bit and then they kind of didn't, and now they want it back.
Because the red line
But
ends. This map doesn't have it, but ends around Somerville, right?
yeah, I think it's Alewife Station. I don't know where Alewife is at. I'm not.
Hold
I
on,
live
let
west of
me.
the city, so I don't really know the north side too well. But
I'll open up this map, which has transit on it.
yeah, get a transit map. Yeah, Alewife is like the end of the line there, which is like just outside of Arlington.
There it is.
That's the green
Um,
line.
right. Porter, Davis, Alewife. Yeah,
It
here we
was
go.
Alewife. Yep.
And I know this is one of those cases of it. It was originally planned, and then now it's a rail trail, and now they want to build it along it, but there's a rail trail there or something like that.
Yeah. Build an L above it. That's what I say. Bring it
Uh,
back.
I I don't
Yeah.
know enough about the Orange Line rerouting, but I know that some people are mad about that.
Yeah, it used to. I believe it was a little bit east of where it went now. So
Yeah.
there was an L, and it ran from like about Forest Hills to like the subway portion of it in the city, like near Back
Hmm.
Bay, and then I think it uses the same right of way, but south of Back Bay, it's called the Southwest Corridor. It was like a canceled highway project. They wanted to
Oh,
build a highway right through the city. I think it was I don't know what. I think it was 93. They wanted to put it like right through the middle of the city. This was like way like before the big dig, and people were not happy, so they turned it into rail. It was actually this was like probably the 70s or 80s. Um, but
Interesting.
yeah, it's a little further west of where it used to be.
So is that why? So the rail corridor from like, is it Reedville or Readingville is
Yeah, Reedville.
to Back Bay? So that is that new roughly?
Yeah, I think Reedville is always been there, but after
But
Hyde Park, which is like a little north of Reedville, it kind of goes into a trench, and that's all new.
so like Forest Hills to like Back Bay is the new section.
Yeah, yeah, that's all in a trench. It's very interesting to see the orange line there because there's no ballast. They just run these trains like on these ties that are just kind of drilled into the concrete. So it's a very
Huh.
unique sound they make. Yeah, that's all
Interesting.
pretty new.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I thought there was rail there, but then they put it in the trends. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I didn't realize that it was brand
Yeah,
new since like the '90s. Huh.
not since the 90s. I think it was like the 70s. And I know there was rail like roughly there. I don't think it was in the trench.
Huh. Makes sense.
Because
Okay.
that route did exist. It was like a New Haven thing.
That's very similar to the video that I will be doing sooner or later on the Wendover topic, which is about the excuse me, the Alameda corridor, which is the one in LA that runs from LA to Long
Oh
Beach.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that
no,
one's a
imagine that, but for high speed ish rail
well,
in Boston.
I mean the Acela, that is the faster section of the Acela, so
Yeah, no, they'll do I think they can do like 90 through all of that. And then yeah, once you get further south, Mansfield, they'll get up to 150.
well, I think it's really, really funny that one of the oldest, if not the oldest, mainline rail viaducts in the United States is technically on a high-speed rail line, which is the Canton Viaduct or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the Tan Viaduct.
Very
Yeah, no, they
cool.
do like I think 110 there or something. Maybe 125 even.
Yeah, I think it's 125. Here, let me
Yeah.
show. So what we're talking about is this bridge right here. This is the one of the oldest, if not the oldest, still in operation mainline viaducts in the United States, and it's fully electrified and technically high speed, which is kind of neat.
This area is like this was my FOMR awakening. This is what got me into trains is
Yeah,
going on went to Reedville, Canton Junction. Those were like the two spots.
that's funny. See, I've always sort of liked trains as like a kid because there was the Conrail Shared Assets Vineland subdivision next to basically my parents' house. But honestly, after like in like middle school through high school and most of college, I didn't give a shit about trains. And then like basically when I was like back at college for a little bit and I was like living next to the Northeast Corridor, and then in like I started like I guess absorbing a bunch of whatchamacallit, urban planning stuff in like 2017, 2016, 2017, I started putting two and two together of like, oh, good city is because good train. And
Yeah.
then I went from there.
Yeah, no, I was the complete opposite. I got into trains around when you were did not care about trains at all. Like I
Yeah.
had no connection to trains whatsoever as a little kid. Like I watched like Thomas and whatnot. I feel like every kid did, but like I had never taken a train before, other than like maybe the Green Line in Boston or something. But like, yeah, I had a friend whose dad was like a railroader type, and he just would take us to watch trains. I was like, all right, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, whoops. What was it? My parents would take me pretty consistently on Patco to go into Philadelphia, but I wasn't really the only mainline rail stuff I ever did was NJT, because they would take me to either Atlantic City or if we were going to New York City, they hated driving into New York City, so we'd almost always drive to Hamilton or Trenton and then take the Northeast Corridor train from there. But I didn't really ride Amtrak until I got into college and then did my own sort of trips.
Yeah, same.
Trying to,
I hadn't taken Amtrak until probably somewhat recently, like maybe middle school or high school.
I'm trying to think of my first Amtrak train trip. I think it was an Empire Corridor train. Because I wanted to go visit my sister in upstate New York, and I was living in New Brunswick, so I just took NJT to Penn and then took the Empire Corridor train from there. Yeah, Yeah, pretty sure that's the first Amtrak trip that I did. Let me actually read chat too.
Mine was like probably the Downeaster. I don't know why though. I've been to Maine like a total of 2 times in my life. One of those was for the Downeaster.
Oh yeah, no, I need to take the. I have a friend that's a conductor on the Downeaster that I need to go say hi to eventually. Uh,
Downeaster's a great route. I
oh
missed the
yeah,
dome car. The dome car was great. When you come across that, I think I took it because it had the dome car on it. And when you come across the marsh, which is like just south of Portland, Maine, dome car view is like unmatched.
oh yeah. I'm I'm sad that like well, okay. I've been told by multiple people that Dome needed to go, but that was also by maintenance people who hate anything that has to do slightly more maintenance than an am fleet or superliner. So take that with a grain of
Yeah,
salt. Um, but I basically, yeah, a lot of the Anderson cuts dealt with getting rid of the fun things, and that was one of the things.
rest in peace, Autumn Express.
Yeah, oh man, I there's a pictures of that thing on the High Line in Philly, and I'm like, I can't believe they did that.
I was gonna say the year they canceled it was the year it was supposed to come to Boston again, and I was devastated.
They had a big train too. They have like 3 Genesis on it. It'd be like 20 cars long.
Yeah, yeah.
Like reading chat.
I forgot.
Hell,
Oh, the dome car. That thing was a pain. Whenever it would come to the Downeaster, it would have to
yeah.
run this like special move that was like one P42 and the dome car into almost Boston because it couldn't go under the wires. They're too low.
Ah.
So it would run up to the Grand Junction and then split off and go up to Maine.
Oh.
I think they were restricted to like 30 mile an hour the whole way or something. So it took them all day to get from like Albany to Boston.
I know for the yeah. I wonder because they really. I think it stayed either on the Downeaster and then it stayed on the Adirondack. But the Adirondack, they would
Yeah.
only add it to the consist once they got to Albany,
Yeah.
because I don't think it fit into Penn.
Yeah, I think it would fit under like the Keystone wires because I know Superliners can technically fit under there, but I think the actual Northeast Corridor ones, it does not fit under. Or, and I don't know about the Penn Station tunnels, probably not that either.
Well, I've been told by people that own dome cars that have run them on the corridor is that you can technically run dome cars on the corridor, but there are certain sections where you can start to see electrical arcing between the dome car and the wire, and you don't want that.
Oh,
So you can do
yeah.
it. You just also need to be within the thing. You might have scorch marks on the top of your car.
Yeah. And then the
Somewhat.
Amtrak one, the Ocean View, I know that thing was really tall.
Yeah, the Ocean View only stuck on the West Coast, and it was that was the parlor one, right? It's like
Oh,
the
that's
double.
the Amtrak dome car. I think that was called Ocean View, no?
What's the one on the Downeaster? Was that the
Yeah,
Ocean?
the one. Yeah, that
Oh,
was the Ocean View.
I'm getting confused with the one that was on the Starlight. That was the parlor car that they got rid of.
Oh, yeah, the Pacific Parlor. Those were
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, so Philip asks, besides grade separations, what challenges are there for turning a light rail line into a heavy rail line? I don't think there's many examples of that. Usually it's the opposite. Usually you're turning a heavy rail line into light rail. I mean, the main thing is just your clearances, your loading gauge clearances, especially for stations and like overhead stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there's many examples of a light rail line that's gotten turned into heavy rail. Or I guess if light rail to maybe heavy rail metro, but even then, I don't think there's many examples of that. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm looking
neither.
at, yeah, I'm looking at chat if anyone you suggest, because like, and even then, if you turn light rail into heavy rail, which AK at this point in the United States means trolley into metro, The MBTA Blue Line was a trolley that turned into heavy rail. That is right. It was also a it was a narrow gauge railroad. Some parts of it was, which the Blue Line should go to Lynn. There is no reason why it shouldn't be at Lynn already.
Yes.
Yeah. I think they even have the platforms at Lynn.
I'm pretty sure that, yeah, when they built a lot of that, they were planning to expand it. Or at least expand it to like, let me look at a map real quick, but like, it's Revere. Like, no one, I've never met anyone who's ever been like, oh yeah, I live near Wonderland Station. I, I've lived there my entire life. I have never heard the word Wonderland uttered by anything other than like a Blue Line announcement. Wonderland does not exist.
They have new buildings that were built at Wonderland recently, but yeah. I actually, when I was visiting Boston in 2022, I was looking at hotels, and the cheapest hotel that was like decent hotel was at the end of the Blue Line. It was that Marriott or whatever courtyard that's there at the end. So I actually stayed there. So it's a weird place.
I've spent almost no time there.
It's a weird
It is,
place.
because it's like near the airport, and it's kind of outside of the city, but you have like the rapid transit. It is strange. And the beaches too are like, there's like jet fuel in the water. You don't want to go.
Hold on. I have some pictures of Wonderland. Let me just go back to.
I will say though, the Blue Line is great.
Oh, it's probably my favorite
Everybody likes the
metro.
Blue Line.
It's my favorite metro line, I think,
it's
in
so cool.
Boston. Here, I have a bunch of.
I gotta agree with you. I like the Orange Line a lot too. But
Here, I have a bunch of Boston
Blue Line,
pictures.
there's something special about it.
I have a bunch of Boston pictures, including one of the first meetups my Discord ever had. Let me find.
You did a meetup in Boston?
A long time ago in 2022.
Oh man, I wish I heard about that. I don't think I was in the Discord then.
So I took my big camera, which I think some of the big camera pictures are on here. So this is the Mattapan trolley. This is where we did with the group of people. This is my telephoto camera, my big boy. Where's the good picture? That's a good one. Yeah, here's the. Let me grab the camera. This is my goofy camera. This guy. This is a Nikon P1000. And it's the camera that if someone says, you can't take a removable lens camera to that concert, you can be like, this is a point and shoot. Yeah, apparently they rebuilt these PCCs pretty recently.
Yeah, they have Brookville, I think it is, like equipment in them. Though it's so strange to like see one of these like super. I think we talked about this like a couple weeks ago. They sound like modern Brookville light rail vehicles, but then like they're from World War II era, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's essentially what the.
Was it the same thing in Philly?
Yes, I think they just adapted the Philly technology to the Boston ones, which would make a lot of sense. But yeah, this is the group meetup picture or whatever, or one of them. So yeah, these are all the Mattapan stuff. And yeah, this is the end of the Blue Line at Wonderland. And in the fog, I think I used one of these pictures as like a background because it's pretty cool. Oh, there's me on the Blue Line because they're empty at the end of it.
I have a picture of me on the red line like that where it's super empty.
This, I forget why I was taking... I was taking videos for the Big Dig video I was eventually going to do.
Oh, yeah.
And there's the green line with the newer rolling stock. Here's the telephoto lens again that I was using.
Those cars are apparently going to eventually go to the Mattapan line.
That wouldn't surprise me. But
like
also...
Once the new ones come in. There's only like 20 of them.
But also the PCCs just got upgraded. I'd be surprised if they got replaced so quickly.
I think that's a pretty short-term thing.
Really?
They'll probably hold on to them and do like a special, like, you know, how a lot of like, I think it's San Diego where they have PCCs and they run them like in special service. But
oh yeah,
that's what I've heard is they want to retrofit the Type 10 cars, or no, sorry, the Type 10s are the new ones that are coming in a couple years. The Type 9s, the relatively new ones.
What
a
I'm
couple
mad
years
at,
ago, are going to get retrofitted to
yeah,
charcoals.
what I'm mad at is the we gave away in Philly, we gave away our boat tram to San Francisco, and I will be so should have kept the boat tram. Uh, you know what those are,
Oh,
right?
let me look this up.
You'll
I
love
don't.
these. Just look up San Francisco boat tram. Here, I'll do it for chat
Oh,
too.
that's sick.
Yeah,
Oh, why would you ever give that away? That's so cool.
they're actually from Blackpool. Um, yeah, these things. They're so cool. I love them so much.
That is cool. Open air trolley. That is sick.
Yeah, they're originally from Blackpool, but apparently they're based on PCCs. Um, yeah, but apparently Philly had one and San Francisco had one, and then Philly sold SEPTA sold it because of budget issues to San Francisco. So now San Francisco has two of them. They have a red one and a green one. Very very
It
cool.
looks like they chopped up like a VW bus and turned it into some sort of light rail.
Essentially, but they call them boat trams because they sort of have the look of you're riding in a boat.
Yeah. Wow, that is really cool.
Yeah, no, I'm like, we need more funky doohickeys like that and more systems.
We do. We
Always
need
always a
heavy
fan.
bonds in this sense.
Yes, or just like
Silly trains.
I think it's Melbourne. Melbourne has a bar tram where there's literally like a side facing bar inside of the car, and then everyone sits down at it. Need that too.
Yes.
I think yeah. Is there any more? I think it's just green
These
line
Type A
picture.
Green Line cars are like the worst. They're so. Have you ever ridden in one of those?
Which ones?
The
The
slightly newer ones?
these?
Not those.
Well, no, I'm
Yeah, the 3800s, the Type
Yeah.
8s. Yeah, I hate the sound they make. That's the
Did
one
you-
thing. So the first train I ever took, I was thinking about it, was a Green Line train, and I was probably like 6 years old, and I remember being annoyed by the sound they make.
like traction motors or just what?
Yeah, yeah. I think SEPTA, or no, maybe it's the New York subway that there's something that has the same like inverters that make that sound. But
Yeah.
it's so infuriating when you're like, you've been stuck on this train for like an hour and it's taking like stopping constantly between Riverside and Boston. Not enjoyable.
Makes sense. See, I forget how many. Oh, this is a good one. So this is the C branch, I think. The other one was the D, which I was showing. Which the D is the. If you ever ride the Green Line or go to the Boston for fun, the D branch of the Green Line is the best branch. Because that one had the actual like
That's
official
the long one, right?
Yeah, and it had its own right of way.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And so it doesn't run down a road. It has its own right of way. So it's like the best. Ah, there's a picture of me. I think that's it for the Boston pictures. Let me try to find. Let me try to find anything else I had from the album. So we
Did you visit the B on the Green Line? That's the fun one, where the platforms are like, you can get hit by a bus and a train at the same time.
the which one?
The B line. It's the one that goes to Boston College.
Oh, yeah. I was a friend of mine works at Mass Arts, and so I was on the E, but the B one I've ridden once or twice because there's like, where was it? Where was the bar I was going to? But it's between like, is this the C? Let me see. What is this one? That's the C.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's the C.
And then this is the B. So I've ridden the B, but not that far down. I think only to the end of where it goes off of Brighton onto Commonwealth.
Yeah, that's where it gets bad. If you go past there,
Okay.
go to like Chestnut Ave or Chestnut Hill Ave. That's where
Chestnut
it kind of
Hill.
curves down.
Like here-ish?
Near the. I mean, that'll work too.
Because I know that it's kind of like
these platforms are tiny.
it's like a oh, this hill here. Hold up. Oh my god, this hill.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some really cool like curves and hills on the line, but
This is nuts.
these
What?
platforms are like a foot wide.
Oh yeah, look at this. And it's like the three
Yeah,
bus
yeah.
shelters in a row. This is goofy.
Yeah. The Beeline. I know Miles in Transit made a good video like a few years back about the Beeline. Beeline
Wait,
sucks.
isn't I forget which is it the B line that has like the Boston there's like a foot race where you race the train. I think it's the B line.
Oh, I don't know. I think
I
it's part of the Boston Marathon route as well.
I think it's the B,
But
but
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
exactly
because you
where.
start at Boyden Park and then you run all the way into downtown or all the way to Boston Commons or whatever, and you race the
Ah,
B because apparently the B is one of the slowest ones.
yeah. I mean, they all are, but the B probably, yeah, it is the slowest because it gets stopped by the streetlights constantly.
Well, the D is surprisingly fast because that's own right away, and then the E
Yeah,
line
The
seemed
D gets up to I think 40.
okay. And then the E line seems to be like I rode that a bunch because I was seeing a friend up there at Mass Arts or whatever, and that one for the most part didn't seem too bad. Um, it seemed
That's the
to
one I've
be
like never spent any real time around. That's the Heath
yeah,
Street one, right?
yep,
Or is it the? Yeah, no, that's Heath Street. Okay.
yeah. Or is this Washington? Yeah, Huntington Ave. Um, hello, Brennan. Thank you. And yeah, this yeah, I spent some time in there because I was staying with a friend at Mass Arts, and then it's the it's weird. Actually, hold on, I have some cool pictures I need to show. One sec, let me find them. Um, the are they in
It's a
my?
cool area because it serves like Mass Arts and Northeastern and Wentworth like all together.
Yeah, apparently to some Boston people, it's a very derogatory area because it's all college students. But I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. No. I mean,
I
most of Boston is all college students.
This is true. I mean, the whole joke about Boston is that like it's almost more college students than not. Um,
Oh yeah, for sure.
so when I was
Especially
in,
in that area. Yeah.
oh yeah. So when I was in or visiting my friend up there, uh, I took my film camera because I've been taking that on most trips nowadays. At least my nicer film camera that's an SLR, and I loaded a very funky film stock into it called Lomachrome Purple. And you got pictures like this, where essentially it inverted some of the colors, where all
Oh
greens are
sweet.
purples, and all like blues are greens. So kind of funky
Ah,
stuff. And that's the E line. They
so
were
it's
working.
intentionally like that. It's not like expired.
Nope. Yeah, it's supposed to be looking like this.
Oh,
So our green
that's
line
cool.
here was looking a little purple in this film stock, uh, which
Nice.
is kind of fun. Uh, it's it's really cool. Apparently, if you photograph like entire forests, because then the entire forest is like shades of purple. So, but
Oh
I
yeah.
brought it with me because the friend that was I was visiting really liked film stock stuff. Here, let me find. I think there's another one somewhere. Um,
I was gonna say I had like a phase where I was like, really into expired color film. And I was like I was going into Boston like almost every day to just like shoot photos of just whatever with this like really old film I got on eBay.
Yeah, I have a bunch of 35 millimeter cameras now. I want a medium format at some point, but that's one of those. It's hard to justify spending the amount of money on it.
Mm. Yeah.
I I've shot a lot of film recently. Actually, hold on. Let me go through the Foamer album. Um, where is the Foamer album? This is mostly a Foamer album that a friend of mine was visiting Philly, and I ended the role shooting portraits of her. But here, this is the Reading and Northern chase of the Ramble. So the 2102 we are following. So this is the RDC consist where there's three of them. Two out of the three RDCs have the original Detroit diesels in them, so they are very smoky.
Nice.
But this is Port Clinton. Port Clinton is the mid or the about one third of the way along the line from Reading to Jim Thorpe, and you can get on there instead of Reading if you don't want to deal with traffic in Reading. There's the RDCs flying out of Port Clinton, They accelerate. I like Reading and Northern because they do not treat their equipment like it's a museum piece.
Oh, I know.
They
Yeah,
work
I've
they work
spent like
everything
very little time
hard.
on Reading and Northern, but it is awesome.
They work
I was out
everything
for when they did
so hard. Yeah.
the yeah when they did the I think it was summer of 2022. I happened to be passing through Jim Thorpe on the day that they did the double header. I
Oh
think
yeah.
it's 2102 and whatever. I don't know steam very well, but
425
whatever
I
their
think.
two steam engines were.
Yeah, the blue
Yep,
one.
they were double heading them. Yeah, that was. I just happened to be in town for that, and it was like Jim Thorpe is just such a cool little town. I love that place.
Oh, it's almost become so popular nowadays that there's like huge crowds. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
I've so I'm not usually like a Steam person, and like I'd like go out and seek Steam engines and stuff. But I like if they're running hard, then I'm like that's so cool because the Reading and Northern one specifically, they run that so hard, and it's like actual. It's like they actually did back in the day, like back when Steam
yeah.
was the default, and it feels like that,
Mhm.
and it's so impressive seeing this thing fly past you at 40 miles an hour, like doing actually what it was supposed to do. Um, it's so cool. And the cool thing about them is they never run a diesel in the consist. They
Yeah.
they will only run diesels in the consist if they are on a downhill grade for an extended period of time, because then they have to use dynamics. Otherwise, they purposely do not put a diesel in the consist. This is it coming out of a tunnel, and I have never heard something in my life so cool as a full throttle steam engine coming out of a tunnel. It is the coolest. You cannot replicate it on video because when a full throttle steam engine goes into a tunnel and you are on the other end, all of the bass and frequency of like the chuffing and the noise gets directed out the front and back of the tunnel. So if you are standing out in one of the directions of the tunnel and you hear and it's full throttle within, you feel it in your chest from a half mile away of that bass coming out of the tunnel. It is crazy.
Yeah, I
What
can't say I've ever experienced that. I like have never really seen Steam other than that one time.
Someone asked what film camera. I can grab it. It's right over there, but it's a Minolta 7000. I think the lens I was using is a 70 to 300 4 f4 on these pictures. But I also use a 50 millimeter prime lens too. That's like a 1.7. But this is Portra 400 that I'm using in most of these shots. Unless there's a Fuji 400 I had loaded into a little point and shoot cheapo camera. Do I have that around? No, it must be in my cabinet. Because basically what I did on this trip, and I do on most trips, is I have my if I take the SLR, I have the Minolta 7000, and then with my swappable lenses, usually like two. And then I will have the point and shoot, which is this Kodak VR35. And the VR35 is the dumbest, simplest camera you can possibly have. It has a lens cover, it has a on-off for the flash, and it has a button for the shooting pictures, and that's it. It's basically a disposable camera that you can actually change film rolls out of. And I give it to friends when we're on trips because it's really hard to fuck up shooting pictures on that. Because it also has a fixed aperture, fixed lens on it. So basically, you just point it in the direction you want, and it does the light metering, and that's it. So some of these
Yeah,
pictures,
I think I've used one of those too.
yeah, they're cheap
It was
too.
like
If
one
you,
of those. It had my photo teacher in high school just gave it to me. He's like, here, I don't take it. It had like a little thing that you flip and go between like a wire lens and like a telephoto lens, but like a slightly more tight
yeah.
shot.
See, that's even more advanced than the one I'm talking about. The one I'm talking about has one lens. It's fixed. It's basically a disposable camera that you can reload film in, and it's fun because like I said, I give it to people. And this is not from that camera. This is from the my bigger SLR, and the Portra 400 performs so well. It looks so good. And this is it running away from us when we were at the tunnel. This is back at Port Clinton. So the funny part is this is the observation car in the back with the little deck. The guy that's sitting right here, that is Andy Muller. He's the owner of the Reading and Northern, and he'll go on these trips. Like I think the Reading and Northern is the largest privately owned railroad in the United States, I'm pretty sure. Because even bigger Class 2s than the Reading and Northern are owned by a company or something. Like the Iowa Interstate and the FEC, those are both owned by a holding company or some like publicly traded something. But
Yeah.
Reading and Northern is owned by a company that is owned by one guy. And so that's why they kind of do shit like this, is that you can kind of do dudes rock shit when there's one guy that's just like, yeah, we'll buy the steam engine. Fuck it. Like,
Yeah, no, it's just like an S tier foamer railroad.
yeah. Apparently, which I thought is also funny, is that I think this is like 2020 or 2021. There was like MiG 21s and a Su 23 that were stranded at the Reading airport, and Andy Muller bought them. And so now if you ever go inside of the steam shop, there is now steam engines and jet fighters inside of the which is the most like, all right, sure.
It's just living the life, you know?
Hold on, let me find the picture of that shit, because I've looked at Reading and Northern MiG 21. There's like
thing on a flat car and like running on a train.
that's like a very model railroad thing to do.
Yeah.
There's like a picture of inside. Hold on, Reading and Northern fighter jet. Yeah, there it is. There's the picture. Yeah. Hold on. Let me open. Yeah. Fighter jets seen on tour of Reading and Northern facility in Nesquehoning, PA.
They're doing something. They're doing something big.
We are going to
big
bomb the
experimental
Norfolk
stuff
Southern
outside.
Allentown branch.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be the killdozer, but for jets.
So fucking funny. There's like another picture somewhere of him transporting them to the railroad headquarters, and someone got him in like the back of a hold on, Reading and Northern. Let me look that up, because there was like a picture of them being transported to the hangar that someone got. It's so funny. They 1,000% need to paint them in a Reading and Northern scheme.
I would not be surprised if they did it at all.
I think is it Su 23? I think there's a Su 25. Yeah, it's an Su 25. But there's no pictures. Reading and Northern. Jet fighter. Let's try that. There's like another picture I've seen, but this is the one that I found that it's in the facility, which is so funny. I would love to get a tour of that. It's like, why do you have a fighter jet? Oh fuck, why not?
Yeah. I'll watch. I'll like 5 years down the line, you'll see Reading and Northern making like their own locomotive type or something. They're gonna do. They got some crazy skunk works that.
Oh. They
underground,
have,
you know what I mean? They're gonna do something wild.
They have like a GP39, right? They have
What?
like a GP39-2 or something like that. It's like only they have it, and like someone else. Apparently,
Yeah, I know Tri-Rail had those, right?
okay. Apparently, a few of them, but I've never seen them anywhere else except for Reading and Northern.
Yeah, it's a super like obscure model.
Yeah. how many? Oh, through 200 bill. Okay. Maybe there it was something else. It was like something weird that I've never seen before, and we were all looking at it like, "What is that?" It was not maybe not 39, but it was something else. But they have some really funky stuff that, like, obviously they've tinkered with.
Yeah.
Oh, this is fun chasing it through the cornfield here. And then, yeah, this is a very Americana shot right here of it going across the grade crossing in the cornfield with us all stopped.
Beautiful.
It's Pennsylvania is like it's frustrating because it's like we could have such a good rail network if there was just a little bit of money dumped into it. This is one of my friend and me. Let me see if I go back to. Oh yeah, here's the point and shoot ones. So yeah, here's me and my friends here that were out at Port Clinton. This is Jim Thorpe. This is the Fulmer line. You have the Fulmer line always. Apparently there was a friend of mine in this line that I didn't even realize was there until later. And then he messaged me later. He's like, "Were you at Port Clinton?" I was like, "I was right behind you probably." This Wallenpauck pack. Oh yeah, this is, where's the before picture? Yeah, here's the before picture where we were waiting for it. And, I handed the point and shoot off to, Tyler's here, and then his partner Cameron had the camera, and she's like, "I'm gonna catch it when it goes by you guys," and so she did a really good job getting the motion blur of the steam engine going by, which is kind of neat. And yeah, that thing was loud, understandably holding his ears. Oh yeah, and then we went to the Scranton Trolley Museum, which if you've never, I didn't realize this shit. This thing gets up to like 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour, and it has its own tunnel and right of way. It's like really impressive.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that because I knew it existed, but I never realized it was that fast. Also, this is the interior. This thing also ran on the Norristown high speed line at some point. Goofy. Like here, let me show the. See, if I was the. See, this is what they need to do, and I think they might want to do this or are trying to do this in the future. Is this trolley runs from this baseball stadium here. There's the trolley barn right there. Let me see. Can I go? Oh, I can. Oh. Here, we can go there.
I was gonna say, every time I drive through Scranton, there's this Chipotle that I stopped at, and like,
yeah,
I saw like a trolley line like above these tracks I crossed. I was like, okay, I guess Electric City for a reason.
So the crazy part about this is it's actually quite useful because it goes up to this baseball stadium, and they actually host like. Well, number one, the Trolley Museum runs this thing every day. They do like 3 or 4 round trips a day. Well, someone says 35 miles an hour is impressive for USA. Well, it's impressive for a museum. It's impressive for museum equipment. Not that it's like impressive for speed, but if you're on ancient equipment that this thing's almost 100 years old, it's 98 years old, and you're going 35 miles an hour, and you're like, damn, this thing, like the DC motors are whining and everything. You're like, wow, this is really impressive. And it's so funny because when this thing was hitting its top speed in the tunnel, the lights in the interior of the car were dimming. It was like, oh, it's kind of funny.
You can see that in the modern era on the MBTA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, some of the, I guess not anymore, but you could see it on the old Orange Line cars before they retired them a year or two ago. They got up to speed, they'd be like, they're a little sketchy.
These, but yeah, this goes all the way up here to this baseball stadium, and this section up to the baseball stadium is brand new, never built right of way. Like it was never a trolley line before this, and they built this entire section from this barn up here down here to where it intersects this like old right of way. And so there's a new grade crossing and everything up here, and like
I was gonna say, that must be the crossing I cross over to go to Chipotle.
That's probably
that's it. It looks like a modern, like it's actually pretty well built.
Yeah, no, and the whole electrification, other than actually no, those are wooden, but they're pretty modern looking poles and everything, and it's like this whole infrastructure for the most part. And the cool part is when you join this right of way here, the funniest part is that this is technically mainline rail, and you're on like a trolley. So it. I don't know how they classify or get away with this shit, because like I guarantee the FRA hates this fucking shit. It's like, because there's like actual freight interchange here that has a switchback. Because this line right here that you can see come down over here and then goes across the Montage Road and then comes down here, joins the trolley line via a switchback, which is crazy.
And this is active like freight tracking.
This is active freight, yes. And I'll show you the part that's even more crazy. And so they fly all the way from here. So if we look, zoom out a bit. So here's like the baseball stadium and that. They fly all the way from here, all the way down here, all the way to downtown over here. And the way that they get there, here, we'll go to Open Railway Map. Come on, please load. Please load the map. Thank you. So the way that they get there is... so here's Steamtown. Here's your roundhouse. And then here's the Trolley Museum. And also the main line for the Delaware and Lackawanna and Western. They leave here and then they go down here through this little rail yard, and then, or through this rail yard, which is very active, and they go into a tunnel under this neighborhood. Long tunnel too. It's almost a mile long, and then come out here on its own right of way, next to the highway, and then goes all the way out here to the stadium. And it's like, I think the whole thing is like 10 miles long or something like that. And it takes about 30 minutes for it to complete. Or no, it takes about 25 minutes. And the whole round trip is about 40 to 50 minutes, I think. Let me see. I have pictures of... let me go through my Google pictures again. But I was like really impressed.
The freight line is someone was saying this in the chat too. The freight on that line reminds me of San Diego. Oh, on MTS, they have like at night. I'm pretty sure once like they stop running the actual light rail, they have freight that runs on the line.
Oh yeah, same with UTA or the Salt Lake City one. There's apparently some.
There too.
Yeah, there's a weird one there. They have like some GNW Class 3 that runs on the light rail.
Yeah.
Where's the pictures? Where are the Scranton pictures? I have like a video. Here we go.
I went to Steamtown like a few years ago, and I just took like the actual little steam thing where it's like you get on the train, you go out and go in. It takes like 20 minutes. And I saw the electrified line there, and I was like, I didn't see any trains running, but I didn't realize it went that far, and that was all the same thing.
Yeah. So the museum has a bunch of stuff there, including the old Norristown high-speed line Brill bullets. The museum, you can kind of get out to the yard, but they don't have the whole yard electrified. They get the trolley out to the yard and they drag it with a diesel, I think, over to the actual yard, or maybe they have an electric bug or something. And so yeah, there's all your Alcos, Alco Heaven. And then this is from the pathway down to the yard. And then here's your trolley. Yeah, red arrow lines. And then here's a video from the interior. But yeah, the funny part is so that one grade crossing I showed is like very nice. But then the other ones, they actually, there's two of them they actually have to stop at and flag still, which is funny. Because you think of all the upgrades they would do, they wouldn't. Oh yeah, here's going through the rail yard. So you can see active rail yard. You're on a trolley. I don't know how the FRA. Yeah, right. How is this? I'm surprised this is allowed. And then you go across this bridge, and then we're already through the tunnel, or I guess we stopped briefly to look out. This is the tunnel, yeah. And oh my god, 35 or 30 miles an hour on this thing feels like you're going way faster than you are. I need to look up how old that tunnel is, because it's impressive. But Scranton was also just crisscrossed by right of ways because there was like 4 railroads that went into it at some point.
Yeah.
But I think the impressive part for me was this is running faster than some modern equipment that I've been on some systems. Cough, cough, the green line.
Yes.
Where's
Wow.
yeah, no, and of course because it was like fall colors, it looked beautiful, and like I think Cameron, the one girl with my friend of mine, she was like, "This feels like a Studio Ghibli movie." I'm on like a single car trolley in the middle of nowhere, that's old, like 100 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, neat line. I totally recommend if you're ever in Scranton to ride it because it's like $12 to get into the museum, and then the museum ticket also includes a trolley ride.
Yeah. That sounds great. Like you live in downtown Scranton, you go, you take that trolley, you go to a ball game, you come out. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Well, my crackpot idea, if I was the mayor or whatever, let me go back, is that so you have your trolley stuff, and then up here is the ski area, and the thing is that I think they want to extend it up to the ski area, which would be funny.
Oh.
And so the idea, I think, is to eventually, if when Amtrak comes to Scranton, you take Amtrak to Scranton, you get off, you stay at a hotel, and then you take the ski trolley up to the ski area, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me try to see if they have a Google Street View of that one rail yard, because I can't believe that's an active rail yard that the trolley runs through. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not like it runs next to it on a parallel line. No, it's the lead up to the rail yard is the trolley line.
Yeah, that is.
like like I don't know how they get away with this.
Keep it a secret.
I don't know if it's a legacy thing, but like I I don't know. Maybe there's actual signaling. I have no idea. But yeah, there's
Yeah,
electrification through like this random rail yard.
that is so weird.
Yeah, it's so goofy. Speaking of museums and preservation, do you think we'll see the Acela 1 power car preserved? Love your videos. I don't know, Sam, do you have any opinions on that? And also, I'll answer this question in just a sec
I
after.
can I can totally like see them preserving. I've heard rumors of like that they're obviously talking about it already. Is the I don't know. I think the retirement of the new Acelas is closer than we think. It's coming up, hopefully soon. I've what I've heard is allegedly that they're gonna preserve. I don't think they're gonna do a full train set. Like I think in Japan or something, they preserved an entire original Shinkansen train, and then there's a bunch of like single cars scattered around the country. I think it's at least for museums, it'll be like either they get one car or they get one power car or the two. But I don't think a full train set will be preserved. But yeah, I could totally see a power car being preserved for sure. I'd be really surprised if one didn't.
It would. There's a lot of people within Amtrak that really like the first Acela because it was like a big deal when it showed up.
Mhm.
So possibly I could see it. It's staying as like a in-service thing. They would just preserve it. Maybe at like Harrisburg, they'd keep it out there. I don't
Oh yeah,
know.
that'd be cool.
But also, there's a lot of people within Amtrak that don't want to even bother thinking about that. So I don't know. It's that. So I've heard two things. One is that the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum will probably at least at minimum get a power car. I would love to see either a business class or a first class car preserved. I would like a business class more than first class preserved because I think more people in their lifetime have ridden the business class cars and remember those.
Yeah.
I don't care much for the cafe cars. I don't think they're that unique looking. Honestly, they're kind of
I
lame.
like the stools. The
Yeah,
bar
the
stools are
store.
kind of nice.
Yeah, the bar is kind of interesting, but the rest of the design of it is kind of like whatever. But
Yeah.
the design I think of the LRC cars and of the Acela LRC cars is very specific and very like. I would love to see at least a business class car saved. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
There was
I want to see them restore one with the OG seats, the like really old looking, like Y2K looking seats. Because
oh
I know they
yeah,
replaced them a few years ago. But yeah,
there's also whatchamacallit, uh, the so there was allegedly a bid for someone to buy the Acellas, at least the train sets if they didn't get scrapped. Apparently, the Pennsylvania DOT was looking into it, which I think is very goofy. To run some Keystone trains as Acellas, which would be very goofy.
yeah,
Which there was two reasons they wanted to do that. One, it's just a nicer interior than the M fleets, and then two is that apparently you can make up to 10 or 15 minutes of time saved on the Keystone because of the tilting. I don't know how true that is, but that's apparently one of the things. But the what was I going to say? Yeah, no, I hope to see them saved. Okay, let me answer this one quickly. Sup, Alan, how much Cascade high-speed rail are we talking here? Well, the the Cascade high-speed rail route is one of those things where it gets brought up every kind of 6 months or so, and I think it got money for being a part of a study. But I would love to see was there ever an official right-of-way dropped for that? I don't think there was.
I don't
Correct
think
me
so
if
either.
yeah, because I know that it's been talked about, but no like official chosen right away I think has been chosen yet. But people were talking about it. And then this Brendan S. just recently saw a picture of a SEPTA train with double stack freight train passing on the other track with electric wires over it. So I no longer want to hear excuses. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Let me try to find that. I think
That
that
the West
was
Trenton line.
no, the Norristown.
Norristown.
Kyle Orvitz. He's one of my favorite photographers is this guy. He's a local Philly guy, but he also goes up and down the Northeast. He goes also on Instagram by the tag of Mid Atlantic Transit Watch. Easily one of my favorite photographers. He's always out everywhere, I swear. But I think he had a picture recently of the Norristown line doing specifically what you were talking about. Let me see if I can find. Oh, this is a funny picture. That's very Philadelphia right there. Let me see. Where is? I know what picture you're talking about. I think Kyle might have taken one of those, or at least some of them I've seen. Where? I hate that the 15 is mostly buses. It's about half and half in my experience. But yeah, I wish there was more PCCs. Oh man, I know I've saved one of those pictures too. There it is. There you go. There's a good double stack under wire.
Yeah.
The class ones do not want you to see this picture. It is illegal to them. This is this is at Norristown. There's a few places in the Northeast where this happens. Norristown is one of them, and then the West Trenton line is the other one where they go over the bridge at West Trenton, and then trying to think where else. There's a few other spots. There is something I think on the Fox Chase line where they're also under wire, and then there is trying to think where double stacks would be because there's plenty of freight under wire. I mean, Sam can probably talk about that.
Yeah.
Actually, you talk about that. Well, I'm going to grab. Actually, do you have any pictures? Because I can always share them too.
Of like freight under the wire.
Yeah, or if you've taken anything.
Let me see.
Or if you just want to share anything and talk about
There's a
anything.
good amount of freight under the wire on the like in Boston. Good amount of locals.
Yeah, because
No double stacks.
plenty of the G and W stuff I know on the corridor.
Oh yeah, I know Providence and Worcester runs like on the corridor and on the Hell Gate line for a while. They run from like New Haven to the Bronx like every night.
Huh.
Um, there's a local
I
in
didn't realize
Mass
that's every
that
night.
runs like
Huh.
a few miles. Yeah, I think it's even on weekends almost. Like it runs a lot. The rock trains, those are
Oh.
frequent.
I love this Avalia picture with a sprinter without a train. I wonder if this sprinter is there to save the Avalia. Um, that's funny. Where is
It's
this
always
at?
out there for the photos.
This is at. I think this is at Overbrook. I think. Yeah, Overbrook.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I love the Keystone because there's a lot of goofy stuff, and they've been testing the Acela too out there. Uh, it's very funny that
I haven't spent much time there.
it's very funny. The original name for the Acela, or the new one, was the Acela 21 because it was supposed to start running in 2021. They have officially dropped that name, unsurprisingly.
Do you think the original Acela was like Acela 99?
It was probably always 2000 because like the turn of the millennia was a big thing.
Yeah.
Because they're all named like the power cars are all like 2000, 2001, 2002.
Oh yeah, I never thought about that.
Yeah, no, it was very Y2K coded because of all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Kyle's Flickr and Instagram is one of my favorites of the area. I think he does a lot of drone shots now too. He surprisingly, I don't think photography is his main job either. There's a lot of people I follow where photography are their main jobs. What's his name? The guy that runs River Rail Photo, like that's his job. Trying to remember his name. He's very much a foamer, older foamer.
Mark Glucksman.
Yes, him. Which apparently some people don't like him that much. Yeah, some of these I love fog pictures, but oh my god, does compression kill
That was
those?
sweet.
I love it, this. So like, I love how a lot of Philadelphia area simultaneously looks like Place Japan and Place Britain put together, but then you have this like insane looking stainless steel doohickey. I think is this Wallingford? Gravers. Okay, I've never been to that station, but I've ridden past it. See, that's what I've had people come, like people very doomer about like the United States in general, and then they come visit Philadelphia and they're like, oh, this is kind of neat. Like especially the suburban regional rail system.
Yeah, is Philadelphia like I guess RT like Denver RTA or RTD or whatever it is like fully electrified, but isn't SEPTA most? No, it is also fully electrified. Right?
It's fully electrified, yeah.
Wow.
But that's also because they killed their diesel services in the early 80s. So it's a
Right.
double-edged sword. Also, the cabbage HHP8 is so funny.
Rest in peace.
Oh,
I
they
think
still.
I think those are done for.
Oh yeah, why?
That's what I heard. Because they converted a P42 to cab car spec like recently. Apparently that thing's a lot better. Had a bunch of like
Yes.
software issues with the HHPs.
Oh really? Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
They've always had issues, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I did take a
those things are
picture.
so cool.
I did take a picture of. There's two of them sitting in Philly still. Yeah, this is.
I was gonna ask, are those still in Penn Courtyard?
Yeah, there's it's sitting. I think this is roughly in the place that they're at now. If you go up on top of the parking garage next to the rail yard, you can get a good picture of them.
I'll check it out next week. I'm taking the train home through Philly for Thanksgiving, so
Gotcha. I guess how
take a
long is? Is it just? Are you switching trains? Or you is the layover that long?
Yeah.
You can.
yeah, no, I'm getting off Pennsylvania, and then taking a regional from Philly.
Gotcha.
So I think I have like an hour.
Okay. I might have to say hi if I'm around.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Um. Oh, this is very funny. Like, I hate the CSX heritage units. It's so lazy.
Yeah, I get what they were trying to do, but it's a little much.
It's just you could tell that's like a very like um it's a very like committee by design type thing where it's like
Oh, for sure.
you could tell one side was like, oh well, we got to have it like show CSX somehow, otherwise they won't know it's our heritage unit, and it's like that's not the point.
Yeah, your average person watching a train go by does not look or care.
No, and they would even if anything they'd be
You're
more
not going to appease
confused.
the foamers and the normal people. Yeah, exactly.
They'd be more confused because someone sees that and they're like, why is the train half painted?
Yeah.
Like,
It also, you can see on a lot of them, even like the painted sections where it's supposed to be heritage, it's very clear that there's just a base coat of paint and then there's like a decal. You know, like the Conrail, they just painted it
yeah.
all blue, put the decal. That's a bad example because Conrail was always like that, but there's some other ones where it's like they really, really flattened and simplified like complicated paint schemes.
Oh yeah. But the Western Maryland was, I think, the one that everyone was kind of pointing out.
Yeah. The New York Central one where they put it in like Times New Roman. They didn't use the cool block letters. I hated that one. The
So
MLA
goofy.
format heritage unit.
The MLA here. That's funny. Oh yeah, my favorite is the these aren't heritage units, but just when like something gets screwed up on a locomotive and they have to paint like the reporting marks on like briefly, those are always funny.
Yeah.
You ever seen the Spirit of Crayola?
Oh yeah, I've seen that thing in person. It jump scared me.
Hold on, let
I
me
was
show
out
you.
like a couple years ago. It went right by. I think it was CSX 940 or 540.
Yeah.
It was something 40.
So what we're talking about is this thing. Where is it? Yeah, there. Where's a
Yeah.
bigger picture? But essentially, they just painted I guess, used whatchamacallit. Okay, that doesn't zoom in. They just
The old rattle
used
can treatment.
rattle can to just try to get the CSX stuff back on. So everyone called it the Spirit of Crayola for a while.
I feel like at that point, just don't put the logo back on. That looks worse than just having no logo.
Yeah, right. Wait, have you seen the meme where it's like they bought Pan Am and got the things back? Hold on, let me find it.
Oh, how they sold their Dash 8s to Pan Am and ended up with them like 5 years later.
Yeah, from yeah, there's like a meme one of my friends made for that, and every time I think of Pan Am, I think of this meme. Whoop! Did I spell something wrong? And the Fisher. Is it just? Okay. Wait, is it? Why is I love Discord search function. It's so useful. Oh my god. For during search function user? No. Gosh, I am so annoyed by this. What is your favorite heritage unit? Well, I'm looking this up.
I don't know. I always like Conrail. I'm a Conrail enjoyer, so like that's kind of a basic choice. But the NS
Well, the
Conrail
NS one
unit
is very good in that aspect. Then
I wish it was a Conrail quality unit. I like the quality thing, but yeah, Conrail foamer. What about you?
oh, I think I found the image. Hold on. Here we go. There it is. So
Yeah.
this
There was a guy that worked at the shops on Pan Am who wouldn't stop like painting the noses of them different colors.
that's funny.
Like if you ever go up to Boston, all the patched ones, it'll have like a purple or blue nose.
So for those who aren't super foamers and don't know what this meme is making fun of, um, so CSX got rid of these Dash 8s, and they went to Pan Am, and then CSX then ended up buying Pan Am. So now they have the Dash 8s again. And apparently they're pretty hard to get rid of because they have aces on them, or they have
Yeah.
some sort of PTC that is needed to run near Boston.
Yeah, the only road power CSX has that has Axis or however it's said is those, and like I think they have like 100 AC-44s, so they're holding on to those things for as
Is
long
it?
as they have to.
I was told, and I didn't know this, that apparently the AC-44s or whatever that run into New York City via the Hudson line, they have chips in their or cutouts in their snowplow so they can go over the third rail.
Yeah. Yep, it's those units. Those can run to Boston.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. It's only on like MBTA and Amtrak territory though, so you'll see it's same for the Norfolk Southern, like Pan Am Southern stuff. All their trackage rights trains that go onto MBTA territory, go into air, they'll put SD60E on the front. Those are the only NS units that can lead.
Huh. Interesting. Because I knew there was something about and I probably also the GNW stuff that goes in the corridor
Yeah,
from
all that
yeah.
too.
I was talking about that with a friend the other day. It's very expensive to refit and at least certify stuff with ACEs because of how complicated
Yeah.
it is.
And it's a kind of old system too.
Yeah.
It's not like what's the why am I blanking? What's the
The
laptop one that
IETMS.
everything has? Yeah, IETMS. It's not a new system like that. It's like from the 80s or 90s or something. So it's yeah, I think there's a finite amount of like Axis transponders that you can put onto a locomotive.
Yeah, it's Amtrak and Conrail use them. And I think Conrail upgraded the whole Albany to Boston subdivision for it or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, I think so.
What are these things? I'm just looking through Kyle's pictures. Are those lease units? What
I
are...
don't know. I think those are Canadian. I just forget what.
Oh, interesting.
Either that or they. No, they're not export units. Maybe they are.
Someone says exports in chat.
Yeah, they could be exports. I don't recognize that paint scheme, so they could be Australian.
Either these feel like Canadian for some reason. I don't know. But weird that they're going through Philly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, go back.
It looks like a paint scheme I've seen, but with different colors. Like I feel like I've seen that in yellow or green.
Oh yeah. Not weird since Philly is a port city, Alan. I don't know because that's in a CSX train on M410, which is I think goes up to New York City, which would be if they're being exported, they'd be exported out of Newark, New Jersey.
I'm about to really be a mega foamer here, but yeah, M410 is Waycross, Georgia to Selkirk. So they're going from the south to. They could be going up to Canada actually.
Okay. So possibly, unless they're getting dropped off somewhere, but
Yeah, that train does work a ton of yards.
I only know about 410 because distance signal or whatnot. He mentions that in like every single one of his videos.
Yep. I only know 410 because I was out. There was this incident where it had all the CSX like Spirit units running, like the veterans one and the law enforcement one and like the first responders one.
Yeah.
And that train like had everyone in the Northeast went out for that, and there's like a fight in the yard and stuff.
Farmers. That's funny. Someone asked, how often does SEPTA use their sprinters? They use their sprinters on all the express trains that use push-pull consists, which I'm sure Kyle has a picture of or has had a few of them already. But SEPTA doesn't really, they don't use a lot of them because they're they bought 15, but they only have like usually 4 or 5 push pull contests in rotation during rush hour. So like they don't use them that often. At least a lot of them kind of sit for a while and they rotate them in and out of service. Yeah, here's one of them. The SEPTA paint scheme
I'm
looks
interested
alright.
to see what happens with the CRC cars.
Yeah, how many of them were built?
I don't know. I know that a lot of them were built, I think in China, and then they shipped them over. I saw them coming in wrapped on flat cars, or like saw pictures of them on flat cars going to Springfield, Mass, for final completion. But I don't know how many have actually been built at this point.
If anything, they'll probably go to EXO, I would imagine. Because I think didn't
Oh yeah, but they're different cars.
Oh, they are.
I think they're both like bespoke designs. Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess does EXO have high level platforms? I think they do. So like they would work because Septas were built to have high and low platforms.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. I don't know where they would go. Maybe they go to like whoever bids on them, or at least maybe the WeGo Star.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it could be like a Colorado rail car situation where they kind of just end up like in random spots, like museums, scenic routes are gonna get them.
Yeah. Oh God, I need to do a whole video on the Colorado rail car. I need to do a video on like passenger rolling stock companies in the U.S. and just how they're like so cursed.
Yeah.
Because I eventually am putting together like a whole thing on the Bud Company, but the problem is that like there is terrible literature about the history of the Bud Company. I don't know why, because I feel like there'd be more foamers specifically for Bud stuff, but what do I know?
Yeah, no, every farmer loves Bud.
Yeah, I don't quite understand that because it like I would have figured there would be like some historical documents about the Bud Company, but there's surprisingly not that many.
Yeah.
But let me see. Let me see if another one, a friend of mine, wants to come on or join us.
All right. Oh, this is completely unrelated, but I saw it in the chat probably like 30 minutes ago. Someone was talking about the Brightline West renderings for the trains. Have you seen those? They have like a party car.
Yes, I have seen those. Or at least I saw the initial
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that was exciting. I didn't see the actual interior renderings like up close until
Yeah.
earlier today. Yeah, those look sick.
It's neat. I also just like I'm very annoyed about modern seating in modern rail cars. Like I'm gonna probably do a whole video that's like me being pissed off about how modern seats and modern trains suck, because I really feel like they do.
What, like they're too like feels like you're in like a bucket seat in some sort of sports car.
Yeah,
Yeah. I remember sitting in I don't know if they rehabbed the Amfleet seats. I don't remember if they have done that in the cafe cars or not. But the cafe cars on the Amfleets, those seats are nice. They're like super big. Feels like you're kind of in like a couch.
oh yeah.
That's one thing that American passenger rail does very well. Is nice like lazy boy seats in the
So
trains.
let me find when I went on Brightline, but like my biggest complaints was that I don't like, we shouldn't be designing seats that look like race car seats in a train. There is absolutely zero
Yeah.
reason why it should be looking, oh wait, where is my Brightline pictures? There it is.
Especially Brightline, because that's like a luxury oriented train.
Well, I don't, the thing is, okay, I'm pissed off because the window I got in Brightline, the entire train was wrapped, so I couldn't take footage out.
Yeah.
It's like, boo, negative immediately about
Yeah,
Brightline.
that's stupid.
But so here's a picture of me sitting in one of the Brightline seats. I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'4", and I could not sit up straight because the wings around your head were going into my shoulders. And I hate this type of design. I've dealt with this on different type of European trains and stuff like that, and it's like, this is stupid. And what's even more stupid is you can't escape this because these seats, they are also in the Ventures too. They're just a slightly different design in the Ventures, is that they don't recline. The bottom of the seat slides out, and they don't actually recline like a real seat. So it's like so frustrating. I'm gonna make an entire video about this because I don't want the Arrows specifically to have this issue. Because I'm not riding on a goddamn Arrow set for like 4 hours and having these shitty seats. Because even after a 3-hour ride on Brightline, I was done. I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, Brightline was fine. The track quality on the faster sections felt slightly actually smoother than the Northeast Corridor, probably because they're new. And then the upgraded FEC section was slightly more bumpy than the Northeast Corridor, and so like it's pretty good for the most part.
You'll feel a little bump when you like slam into a car at a crossing.
We actually, so we joined. We went from the Orlando section to the where you join the FEC main at Cocoa Beach, roughly. And like just after we did that, probably like 10 minutes after we did that, our train went into full emergency. I felt the entire brakes a dump and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck just happened? I was like, this can't be that I'm on the first train or the second train of the day on the first day running from Orlando and we hit a car. And apparently it wasn't. We just stopped for about 5 minutes, and then I think it was a PTC reset or something like that.
Oh yeah, sometimes it'll happen.
Yeah, and so, but I was like, I felt the air dump out of the brakes. I was like, oh, it happened. It was like,
Yeah.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah. That's a crazy feeling to be on a fast train. It goes to emergency. Like I was taking in Acela a few years ago, and it was like at the point in Massachusetts in Mansfield where they're doing like 150 or climbing up to 150.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, but the train just stopped from like 150 in like a few seconds. It was not comfortable.
No. Because especially when a train brakes like that at that any speed that's faster than like 60 miles an hour, the slack action within the train will slam you back and forth a few times while you're braking at max speed. So it's not just like you get slammed forward. No, you're slammed back and forth a little bit before you actually stop because of the slack action. So it's not nice.
Yeah, and that wasn't even full emergency. I think it was a signal, like a signal reset, like you were saying.
Oh
Which
yeah.
I think is technically suppression, which is like not quite as bad as emergency.
And even then, I've heard emergency is weird because sometimes you get wheel slip anyway, so it's not like as bad sometimes. So,
Oh yeah, that's true.
but it's
Do trains
weird.
have ABS?
Some do, but since air brakes are weird, they don't necessarily always
Yeah.
do it. Trains definitely have traction control for starting and stopping, but for the most part, if you're using the air brakes, and no, if you're using dynamics, definitely.
Yeah.
But for normal brake application, I don't know. That would be a question to ask someone that builds or works. So that would probably be in a spec sheet for something.
Yeah.
I actually don't know because that's like I've thought of that before. There is definitely traction control for starting and stopping, but I don't think there's ones for air brakes.
Yeah.
I don't know if someone in the comments would know, but I don't think they do. But yeah, Brightline's fine. It was a little expensive. I think someone did like a report on the expensive like corridor stuff, and they found that Brightline is the most expensive per mile or something like that of any really busy corridor in the country. And it makes sense. It's private. And it's also getting started. It'll be interesting to see how much Brightline West costs because like they're not competing against other trains or buses or anything. They're competing against the airlines. And so you can even charge a little premium on top of that and everything.
Yeah, especially if they have like bar cars and like these kind of gimmicky, like opulent train interiors. Like
Oh
and
yeah.
I think it'll be expensive.
Let me see. I'm seeing who is online to cat get down causing problems. Uh, where is? Let me see what Ethan is up to. Because Ethan recently moved to Portland, so he's gotten to see a lot of stuff out there. Yeah, Glenda is
What's that
sometimes in.
weird like TriMet
Yeah,
place? They
TriMet,
have
and
like
then
a halfway commuter rail there.
there's Wes. I forget what that stands
That's what
for,
I'm
but
thinking of. West.
yeah, but they have the Colorado rail cars and RDCs,
Yeah.
which is such a weird combination of vehicles.
I always like those weird like they're not fully commuter rail, but they're like functionally kind of commuter rail. I've never like understood those, you know, like that, and
Um,
it's like smart in California,
well,
stuff like that.
smart kind of makes sense because that's almost like a Riverline analogy or analogous,
Yeah,
where where it's not necessarily like you need. I forget what station it interfaces with Wes at because it's not on Google Maps, which is kind of frustrating. Is it here at the end? Is this where Wes comes to, or is this? Someone that knows Portland, where does Wes interact with? Um, Beaverton. Okay. Let me go to Beaverton, Oregon. Oh, that's a big fuck off area. Okay. Um, okay, but okay, I was right. It is Beaverton Central. Oh yeah, and then it has this weird like, yeah, okay, it like street runs in a goofy section and then goes off in its own
huh.
corridor. Yeah, yeah, this is so goofy. Um, it has its like own single platform. Wait, no. Go in the parking lot. No, I can't go in the parking lot. Okay. Yeah, it has its own like single platform and then like street runs down the center of a street and then goes, oh, can you see a train set? Oh, I thought it was, hold on. Oh, I thought I saw a train set. But yeah, it like street runs down this like section here and then it finally goes onto its own right of way. Um,
Oh,
so such a goofy line. I think this is the direction. Yeah, and then you have your normal stations and whatnot. Um, yeah. Oh, there's your gauntlet tracks. There's some conversation I had about these the other time. Um, but the gauntlet tracks are what are mostly, and these gauntlet tracks are designed the correct way, where the gauntlet is for the passenger train that slows down at the station, not the freight train. Because
yeah.
a lot of gauntlet tracks are designed wrong. Like the ones on the Raritan Valley line in New Jersey, those are
Those are the ones
designed.
I've seen, like one at Union.
Yeah, and those are designed incorrectly because the slower passenger train that slows down for the station gets the main line, and then the freight train that does not slow down gets the gauntlet track, which, sure, but that's not how you're supposed to design them.
Yeah,
Because you want the gauntlet to take the impact of the slower train and the lighter train, which is almost always the passenger train.
mm,
Let me try to find a station where it's at. Um, yeah, gauntlet tracks are set up where wherever the slower train is, you want going through the gauntlet, and you want the faster train to stay on the main line that does not shift. Um,
yeah.
let's see. I'm trying to find the NJT ones. Where are they?
I know there's one at Union.
One at Union. All right, let me just... Union, New Jersey. Okay. Which we can see from up here. Yeah, well, these are long-ass gauntlets.
Yeah.
I can't even tell from this. Yeah, it looks like the gauntlet is for the main line.
Yeah.
And then... Those are some long turnouts. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but still. Yeah, the gauntlet is for the freight train, not the... but I guess NJT owns the line, or NJ government owns the line. And one is at Roselle Park, too. Let's see.
I think one stop west of Union is Roselle Park.
Yep. There's a lot of... I see a lot of railfan videos from these areas because you can get passenger and freight train stuff, especially Bound Brook. Bound Brook is the famous one.
Oh, yeah, Bound Brook is classic.
Oh, interesting that there's no gauntlet on the northern track, only the southern track. Huh. That's a weird design decision. That is such a long gauntlet, though. Oh my god. Where is the switch? I can't even tell with these because the turnouts are so long. It looks like the freight train is on the gauntlet, and the passenger train gets the normal track. How does a gauntlet track work? Do you want to describe that, Sam?
From my understanding, it's like a switch, like a mini switch, but it's on the same. Hey, you could probably explain this better than me. I don't have the words.
Gauntlet. Am I spelling that wrong? Hold up. Gaunttle track. So basically, gauntlet tracks are used when you need a clear. You need to clear the platform more than like the loading gauge of the freight train. Oh yeah, here's one on the Raritan Valley we were just talking about. So this gauntlet is set up correctly where I wonder which station this is. Which gauntlet track? Union Station. Huh.
Oh, that is Union.
Okay, maybe it is set up correctly. But essentially, you want the freight train to clear the platform because high-level platforms, the freight train would hit the edge of the platform with certain cars, especially well cars, if you were on the same track. So this is designed so that the passenger train comes into the gauntlet close to the platform so there's no gap, and then the freight train can go through and not have to hit the side of the platform because they have a further away track. It's essentially a siding within the track geometry, if that makes any sense. It's a way to basically make a siding within the track geometry so that you can go around the edge of the platform. They really are very niche, and they really only matter for like high level, really for only North America for the most part, for mainline stuff. There's very few times you need them elsewhere. I guess sometimes in Germany for like whatever this is. Yeah, there's a design for it. Oh, I guess for tunnels would make sense. Yeah, I guess bridges also make sense. Sonoma County Airport Station. Is this at the... This is Wes. Okay. Yeah, Smart. Oh, Smart. Yeah. I didn't realize they had them too, but that makes sense. I forgot they had freight up
For the
there.
bridges, it's more of like a check rail situation than an
no, the bridge is like this, where essentially, or not like this, but you have two, you don't want to run on the same line, I think. So it's, you have, like, there's two tracks that are next to each other that, like, they go, instead of joining into one, you have two that are kind of intermingled with each other like
I see
this.
what you mean.
I don't know
Yeah.
exactly why you do that versus single tracking, but there are
Yeah, then you just have
reasons.
to pay for twice as many rails.
Yeah, I think there's some reasons for it, mainly for like signaling, but for the most part, there's no
Mm.
reason to.
Yeah.
Text rail platforms can accommodate plate H. Well, that's the thing is that a lot of places out west don't want high level platforms because they can't accommodate plate H or larger freight loading gauges. Interlace track saves width without control point expense. Ah, that's a good reason. Wouldn't you still need a frog though to cross over? Because I think you would interlace track saves without control point. I guess without moving switches. That's probably what it saves on. Yeah, but the frog doesn't move. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Um, okay, so these type of gauntlet tracks, I think the Wikipedia article probably says it, but yeah, these gauntlet tracks save you money because you don't have a moving switch, which okay, I can kind of see, but then there are various other issues. Let's see. So I'm gonna go grab some water real quick. But what is a rail topic that's like one of your favorite things to talk about,
Rail
or that's
topic
been
that I
on your
talk about.
mind maybe?
Oh, huh. That's a good question. Uh, I always talk about Amtrak stuff. That's like my thing. It's talking about Amtrak equipment.
Okay. Well, if you want to watch
Not
chat
it.
for a sec, I'm gonna go grab or refill my water. So I'll
All
be
right.
right. I'll be right
Yeah.
back while you entertain
Gotcha.
chat. Let me. Yes. Be right back real quick.
All right. Time to talk more topics, fellas. Um, yeah. Yeah, Alan's getting some water. Let's get some questions going, guys. The other lad talking. I'm Sam. I'm a channel called Worldwide Rail Fan. Um, yeah. Thoughts on Acela 2. Um, I'm excited for when they do finally enter service. Hopefully, they'll have their issues all sorted out. Um, at least in terms of reliability. I know they had a ton of like really funny issues, like they had windows exploding whenever I forget what the trains, the EMUs were on the Pennsylvania Railroad, where like the windows would explode at speed. I think it was the Metroliners. Um, but they had issues like that. I'm hoping that they'll be figured out and they'll be reliable trains. Am I confident that will happen? Not so much. But in terms of like passenger rolling stock, they are pretty exciting. Why does SEPTA suck at preservation? I don't know anything about SEPTA, to be honest. Did they scrap all of their AEM 7s and like ALP 44s, or did they only have one ALP 44 or something like that? That's an Allen question. I don't know much about Philly. Talk about rail bridges. Uh, what kind of rail bridges? I like I forget what they're called. I guess maybe they're trestle bridges. The ones that they have, they're made of wood. Those are cool. Stance on NJT still trying for bi-level cars. Um, I don't know. I do respect the whole bi-level car thing. It's like you can fit more people. I know it takes longer to load and whatnot. I think for higher capacity systems like transit, it makes some sense. Um, and also I'm excited to see the bi-level EMUs. That'll be a I think that'll be a first for America, no? Oh no, they have the highlight the what are they? The Highliners? Whatever the metro things are that are like halfway bi-level but the drop through floor. Oh, the Caltrain EMUs are bi-level too. What am I talking about? What else? Uh, thoughts on state-run lines? Big fan. Like commuter rails, like state-funded lines, they can be good. Sometimes they can be mismanaged. Should Amtrak get EMU versions of the arrows to increase service? Um, should they be buying EMUs? I think for shorter distance routes and for higher capacity routes, yeah, for sure. It makes sense. Things like the Keystone and whatnot. For things like the Northeast Regional, I think push pull works. I like that they're push pull though. That's smart. But yeah, EMUs are better for trains that stop a lot. So the Keystone, I could see them getting EMUs. Does that technology exist? Like, does Siemens build an EMU for the American market? Not really. So, fun fact about the MBTA. Uh, what's a fun fact about the MBTA? How you doing? I'm answering a question for a fun fact about the MBTA. Some of the subway lines are connected. I forget which ones, but I know the red line and orange line have a connection somewhere because they store orange line cars in one of the red line yards. And I think the blue line has a connection to the orange line somewhere too.
Don't they want
Anyway,
to?
on fact.
Don't they want to connect the blue line to the red line or something like that? There's like a project.
Yeah, so it ends right now in downtown Boston at Bowdoin Station, and then they want it to connect to Charles MGH, which is like probably a 5-10 minute walk on the red line. Um, but it's hard to obviously do any construction in a downtown historic city. Everything's a historical landmark and whatnot. So it's been proposed, but there you go. Blue line and green line in Government Center are apparently also connected somehow by rail. Not in terms of I'm talking about like actual rail connections, not like you can switch between trains at those stations.
No, makes sense. Did they want to
Yeah.
run trains through, or was that like a yard switching or maintenance type thing?
Yeah. Yeah, just maintenance and yard switching. They're not used really ever.
Okay. Someone says it's so frustrating to have two of the most advanced Euro-style passenger lines in NA and DFW, and every city wants gondola pods or AI-powered air taxis. Well, at least DFW is building stuff. Because I will. Let's go to. Hold on. Yeah, it's interesting that a lot of the very like modern DMU stuff is being built in Texas. Because there's a few of them down there, not only in the DFW area. It's surprising to me that more cities haven't done DMU, excuse me, style systems. Because one of the was the A train. What is that weird one that goes like north? I forget. There's like a one. Is that in the DFW area? I think it is. Yeah, it's the A train. It's the one that uses this like class 3 that goes all the way up here to Denton, I think.
Are
Yeah.
those the Stadler things?
Yeah, they're like the
Or is that
Stadler.
Texrail?
No, they're the Denton A train. Not schedule. I think they use Stadler GTWs.
Oh, these. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like an older one. It's one of the older projects that they had in the area. I think, yeah, they used RDCs, or no, those are RDCs on TexRail, or maybe they used them on the A train. But it's apparently its schedule is not the best. It's like hourly or something like that. Mainly because it's like single tracked for a lot of the run. Let's see. Oh, it's every 30 minutes. That's not terrible. Yeah, 30 minutes is not bad, especially going all the way out in the burbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's one of the better. The DFW area is like, yeah, there's a lot of suburban sprawl, but like for the most part, they're actually trying to build a lot of new rail stuff, which is kind of neat. The thing that I wish is that like a lot of the stuff connected all in one hub, where there doesn't seem to be one hub at the moment. Like Dallas downtown sort of has like your Union Station style thing, but even then, it's not. A lot of the services don't all go there.
Yeah.
A train is going to be 15 minutes in a year or two. Oh, well, that's good. Hi, cat. Yeah, I mean that's the one thing. See, if I was my like crank thing, I have a bunch of crank plans, but one of them is that I would make a program so that every small tiny railroad in the Appalachian Mountains gets some hourly DMU service or something like that. Because I feel like that would be a lot easier than people think. and you would serve a lot of very underserved communities that are in some of the more poor sections of the country, like West Virginia, and also the terrain there is beautiful. If you ever get to ride the Cardinal or any of the thing that goes through the Appalachian Mountains. And it's also the fact that there are so many mining railroads that are now not very much used because coal traffic died off, that you can just run passenger service and no one gives a shit.
Yeah. I was thinking like they gotta bring back the RDC, make either retrofit modern things onto an RDC or make a new version of the RDC or a spiritual successor. You know?
I've said this. There needs to be a modern version of the RDC because there's not really a modern. I think the Japanese are the only ones that really create modern single car DMUs.
Yeah.
I think there's some in Europe, but they're really goofy, weird designs. Where the Japanese at least have like sort of normal looking single car DMUs, but we don't really have like a RDC replacement. The RDC replacement was the SPV 2000, and that died
Yeah.
for various reasons, and it wasn't just bad. I'm actually getting SPV documents. I actually have like a folder of them now to try to put together a video on that, because that's, in my opinion, that's one of my like favorite North American sort of transit. Cat, get down. That's sort of my favorite North American transit topics that no one talks about. Is that like sort of how we don't have DMUs and we have diesel hauled push pull consists everywhere versus everywhere else in the world. And I think it's largely because the SPV 2000 died, because that was the replacement.
You know, it is interesting how the Metroliner kind of like served as the groundwork for a ton of different rail car designs. Like obviously the Amfleets, the SPV 2000s, I mean, I guess the Metroliner still survived to the day with cab car things, but that's still wild to me that like there's still Metroliner cars that are active and the Amfleets are still active because they look ancient
Yeah.
and they are ancient.
No, agreed. Well, it's funny because the M Fleet design I used to think was very like old and like very almost like problematic, but now I'm like more like I don't think Amfleet could have Amtrak could have survived with any other type of designs.
Yeah.
Because like I think you needed a car that was like stupidly robust, that was like required little maintenance, and I think that the Amfleet and the Superliners were the only ones that could have possibly done that. Because the Horizons, for example, all the Horizons are falling apart.
Yeah.
And the Horizons are 10, 15 years newer than most Amfleets. And
Yeah, those are from what, like the 80s?
yeah, just about. And all the Horizons that I know, half of them don't have fully working traps anymore. They're either locked in place or the steps are just welded in place. They have speed holes in a lot of them now where they're rusted through. And they're generally, yeah, they're just not, they just haven't aged as well as the M fleets have.
Yeah.
Because like, and I don't know, my only issue with the M fleets is the windows. Other than that, I honestly don't have any issue with them. The bathrooms are kind of dated at the moment, but for the most part, it's like I don't see an issue with them. And honestly, it kills me that like we're going to an era where the seats are going to suck compared to the older seats. Like the one thing that Amtrak has over like every other mode of transit is now going to go away. Like that sucks.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Let's see what
I wonder how much longer the M fleets will survive on Amtrak. Like, I think they'll be replaced on their current duties with the Arrows, but I could see them on the newer routes that they're kind of starting up with the Connect Us plans. Like, those could start off with M fleets. We could see M fleets surviving into the 2030s for sure.
Oh, I see that, and I could see them going at least for 20 more years. The M Fleet 2s will stay around much longer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's no official replacement for them yet.
because the Amfleet ones, some of the oldest Amfleet ones are definitely showing their age, but
Yeah.
there's no reason that they're like totally need to be completely replaced. Um, oh, thank you, Duncan. Um, the we need more Adirondack service, or at least a return to the Montrealer. I think was the Montrealer the one that went to Washington D.C. I think it was. But the Adirondack, what the thing that kills me about that is I don't honestly care that it takes as much time as it does, but it should be a sleeper train. And like the only reason that it's not a sleeper train is that it has to serve all of the local stops along it. Because like Amtrak can only had the money in the past to run a train between New York City and Montreal, and it had to stop at all of the Vermont stops during the daytime to make all the people there happy. But in my opinion, if you wanted an actual like useful service between Montreal and New York City, it would have to be a sleeper train. Because I don't see it being as useful if you can't go overnight.
Yeah.
At least schedule it
I
so
thought that
you.
was the plan for a while. At least not
What?
necessarily on that route. But like once all the Amfleet twos are kind of, or sorry, the Viewliner twos are in service, start rehabbing the older Viewliners and put those on like the Night Owl and eventually the Adirondack.
Oh my God, the Northeast Regional Night Owl. Uh, that motherfucker. That I. They need to figure out why do they do the 4 hour layovers? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
either.
I think
It's
it's
just
a
two trains at that point.
yeah, I think it's a crew issue, but like, it's so insulting. Thank God the fucking layover for the southbound one is in Philadelphia because I can just get off and I don't have to go south of that. But like, if I'm going
Oh, are they
north,
both in different places?
yes,
I thought they were both in Philly. What?
no, the northbound one is in New York City.
Oh,
It makes no sense. It's the most. It's. I would take the northbound Night Owl into Boston if it didn't lay over in New York City. And the worst part about the layover is that they'll recheck tickets after the layover. So that means that
yeah.
if you actually want to try to sleep in the Amfleet seats, which honestly is not a difficult thing to do, they'll wake you up again to check tickets. So it's like, it doesn't.
Yeah, no, it's like completely against the original Night Owl thing. Like, didn't they have a thing where they would drop a car or two in New York? Like, they had a sleeper car and you could get on in New York, and then they'd like at the beginning of the night, you get in your car, and then eventually when the Night Owl gets to New York, they attach it to the train and then leave.
Yes, they had something like that, but I mean, for a long time, it was just, it was just that they put a sleeper on at least until they ran from I think 2018 until the pandemic. You had a sleeper that was attached to the back of the regional that would just it would just stay on for the whole ride.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about the original Night Owl, like, because it's still not technically called the Night Owl. But
Oh, like
it's
are
the
you
Night
talking
Owl
like
original
back in like the
experience.
PRR days?
I think Amtrak operated the Night Owl until like the 80s or something, and they
Oh,
did that where a car that you could get on in the evening and stay on in New York and get picked up.
I'd have to look that up. I have honestly, um, I don't know enough
Yeah,
about
I know
the.
that they brought back the sleeper at some point before like 2020.
Um, let's see what has Adam said here. Is there a direct route? Is there a direct route between Boston and Montreal that Amtrak could use instead of Springfield, Massachusetts? I feel like you could talk about that, right?
Yeah.
Because there wasn't there talks about bringing a sleeper train from Boston to Montreal
Yeah.
back?
I think that was a privately operated train. It wasn't gonna be Amtrak. There
'Cause I
is a
think
route that you can do it, but it would have to be a sleeper train for sure.
Because I think it was supposed to go through the Downeaster route up to Cumberland and then branch
Yeah.
off and then go over on this like class 3, whatever this is.
Yeah, I
What is
forget what it's called.
the St. Lawrence and
It's,
Atlantic.
yeah, yeah.
But that's kind of that's similar to the Duncan's question, is that like we need more sleeper trains in general, because if you don't have high speed rail, that's the one way you can sort of get around it, that aspect.
Yeah.
Um,
I like completely forgot that was a proposal, the privately ran sleeper train from Boston.
well,
That was
the
like 3
one
years ago or something that you mentioned it.
the one that confuses me that I've been reading about recently, and I actually signed up for their newsletter quite recently, is that they want to run a sleeper train between San Francisco and L.A. And I'm like
I've heard
surprised,
about this. Yeah.
and I'm surprised that it's a private company and it's not just like the state paying Amtrak to do it, because I feel like that would be a slam dunk Amtrak route, or at least I'd think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're trying to do another Brightline thing where they appeal to like people who are like tourists, and it's a nice train. And you sleep on it, nice accommodations, nice modern new train. Because the renderings, they look like official Siemens renderings that they
Huh.
posted earlier this week. It
Well,
looks
it's
like an actual like charger.
it did. I think it is, but at the same time, that might just be the locomotive because it's California. Um, because
Yeah.
remember, in California, you can't run anything at this point that's not Tier 4.
Right, right.
So I think they're going to use older cars, but I think the locomotive has to be a charger because of Tier 4 emission standards. It's either that or they're going to do the curse thing of it's going to be a Union Pacific like Gevo with a generator car behind it. And then-
Yeah.
which
Yeah, no,
honestly might.
I could be buying into the marketing like way too much.
Honestly, if it was a fucking Gevo with a generator car, that would be equally as funny, and I would want to be on board that.
You know, the only way to legally ride behind a Gevo.
Someone says, wasn't there an Acela that was a direct between NYC and DC with no stops pre-pandemic? No one talks about it. Yes, there was,
Rest in peace.
but it's sort of redundant because the sections where you have to stop in a station are slow anyway, so it's like you're not saving that much time. Because like the section, if we go back to the East Coast, if you look at the sections where you have to stop places like Philadelphia, the track geometry coming into Philadelphia's 30th Street is very S-curvy and squiggly. So it's like you have to slow down to 20, 15 miles an hour anyway. And so the reason why most Acelas never did that is because you're only saving like the time it takes to be at the platform, which is maybe 2-3 minutes. And so is it worth it for them to miss all the trips that they maybe get in Philadelphia or Wilmington or Baltimore? Not really, because you're only saving probably a total of maybe 15 minutes by slowing down and not stopping.
Yeah.
I forget the actual time that the nonstop one was, but it was faster, but it wasn't like significant. In my opinion, the ones that are worth it is the when I've ridden the Acela from Philadelphia to Boston, the Philadelphia to Boston Acela is almost an hour. I think it's an hour faster than or most regionals. The Acela from Philly to Boston can do it in about 5 hours and like I think a few minutes, and then even faster slightly, I think, for some of them. But then the regionals do it in about 5 hours and 50 minutes or 6 hours. And so I've bought Acela tickets before to Boston purposely because I'm like, it feels way faster, even though it's only an hour.
Yeah,
There's
some
even
of those shoreline stops are kind of brutal.
Oh yeah,
Like Old Saybrook, New London, Westerly.
there was an Acela that was on that skipped New Haven. It didn't even stop in New Haven, and I was like, wow.
I've been
It's
on
like-
that train before.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring that up. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know that exists. I don't know if it still does, but it
Oh, it
was.
does.
I thought we forgot the station.
It's like 2156, I think, or something like that. I've been on it before. It's the one that
Yeah.
leaves. I think it's the first one to leave Washington D.C. in the morning.
I took an evening one on a weekend. It was 2264. That also didn't stop there.
That must be the southbound one. But I don't
No,
know.
no, it was a northbound. I was taking a New
Oh,
York to Boston.
there must be two of them then.
Yeah.
Because one of the
So
early,
it
I
was
think
like
it's.
5 years ago.
Oh, okay. One of the early ones I know in the morning does it. Whatever it is, 2160 or 2156 or something. Yeah, and I remember looking at the itinerary of stops we were stopping at, and it was not many, and it wasn't New Haven. I was like, wow, that's surprising, because New Haven is not a
It's a
small.
big crew change point too.
Yeah, but I guess at least if you crew change at New York City, they can go up and back in one shift, or I would assume.
Yeah.
Because New York City is pretty much the base of operations for most people. Otherwise, it's Boston and Washington, D.C. And then New Haven and sometimes Philadelphia is also where crew changes happen. I don't think anything happens in Baltimore or Wilmington or Providence.
Definitely not Providence. I can speak on that.
But New Haven is definitely a crew change because that's where a lot of the Springfield, Massachusetts also because it's the New Haven Springfield corridor is owned by Amtrak and they run a ton of stuff in between those two places. But New York, Washington, and Boston are the main crew change areas. Philadelphia is probably in fourth place because they crew change anything that goes west of Philadelphia, like the Harrisburg line. And of course the Pennsylvanian too.
Yeah.
How would Amtrak new international service between Chicago and Toronto via Detroit play out in the future? I don't know. Well, I mean, it's going to use the tunnels, but the problem is not the American side. The problem is the Canadian side at this point, and that's for most international trains. That's the case. But I don't know enough about that topic, honestly.
Yeah, me neither.
In the past, in the past, the VIA equipment has actually come over into the U.S., but modern day, if anything, if it came back, it's probably going to be Amtrak equipment going into Canada because that's how everything is currently. The rebuilt station at Windsor Station and the time transfer to Via Rail. See, that's kind of what's the point of that? Because what's the point of the transfer? That the whole point of an international train is that you can keep your shit on board and just go the entire distance on one train. So I don't know how that's kind of defeating the point because at that point you just get off in Detroit and then take a bus over and then get on to the Via train there. Because I don't think the Via station is even in or on the line. Let me see. Satellite view. I don't think the Via station is even on the line coming out of the tunnel, so it would have to. It's in the yard, I think. Right? Yeah, there's your Via. Or no, those are auto racks. Oh, chat. We love Chrome. It's so stable. Yeah, because the Via station is like somewhere up here. Somewhere. Where is the Via? Hold on. Am I dumb? Why is it not showing up? Let me open it and... let's see, where is... I'm like forgetting where. I think it's... Via Station is further north from there. Oh, that's a weird spot. That they
Oh,
really shoved that into the middle of nowhere. Yeah, that is literally an industrial track to serve whatever factory this is, and they just put the Via station up here. Uh, Also, there used to be a Y, but there is. How does the train turn around now? Unless it just double ends locomotives. That's
it's
I
such a
guess
magical
it
thing
probably
sometimes.
it probably uses this Y up here. Okay, that makes sense. That's still goofy. Every time I think Amtrak is bad, I look at Via.
Yeah.
Oh man. And so yeah, the station's all the way up there. Is there? Let's go back to this. Was there any historical crossing from up there? I don't think there was. I guess it went on like a pier or something. I guess there was a connecting track, but at this point they would have to relocate the station if they want to do anything. Huh. There was a station on the
Not that moving that station would do much.
Yeah. And even then, it's like, at this point, I don't see this working unless it's a through train, because like there's no way this works unless it's not a through train,
Yeah.
because you can't transfer like that easily. Also, it hurts because if I go back to classic view, oh, do they not have this on here? Early owners. They don't show the tracks that used to be downtown next to the. Oh no, they do, I guess. But these used to go further, all the way up to the Millennium Center or whatever. These used to be the station. Yeah, these SEMTA, which used to exist.
Yes.
Which
SEMTA. I think we had some ex-SEMTA units on the MBTA for a little while.
yes, and it's currently
Only
currently
ones at IRM.
yes, yeah, it's at IRM now. And I actually pointed that out to someone. I was like, "Hey, look, it's the SEMTA unit." And they're like, "I have no clue what that is." I'm like, "That's the Detroit commuter rail system." And they're like, "I had no
Yeah.
idea that existed."
Yeah, no, I think they got like 10 of them from SEMTA, and then they're all maintenance away and like work train power. But one
SEMTA wasn't
survived until like 2019 on the MBTA.
really.
Yeah, it caught at 904. It was painted blue. All the other ones were orange. It caught on fire at some point, and then they just recently like donated it to some like rail preservation club in New Hampshire.
Huh.
It moved like over the summer.
Current plan is to really just let people get across the border and have pre. Oh. Google Chrome. Hello. The current plan is just to get people across the border and have pre-clearance custom facilities. It's not a good plan, but improving the border crossing is a tall order via more so, yeah. Oh yeah, no, Chrome crashes once in a while when I'm using maps. It's so frustrating. Maybe switch to Firefox. Honestly, I just need more newer. Oh. Okay. Wait. Now the chat is crashing. Yay. Very, very useful browser. Can I F5 it? No. Very useful browser. Okay.
Yeah, no, this is why I've just stayed on the Discord tab and the stream tab. I'm scared to like look anything up or like go to anything else because it'll blow everything up.
It's so crazy how all this stuff has become more and more unstable with stuff. It's like computer programming.
Yeah.
Ugh. What's crazy is my Chrome went out when yours did. It's funny. The Detroit stuff is interesting. I don't know how I feel about the. I'm glad that the station got repaired. The old Michigan Central Station. But at the same time, it's like the plans that they had for it is basically just to take the platforms away entirely, which is just like, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like you should be planning for the future and like keeping the platforms, but also it's a terminus station technically if you're not going into Canada, so there's not also too much you can do with it. Granted, the current Amtrak station for Detroit kind of sucks ass though, which is this thing. The Wego Star. The Wego Star is funny. I need to go see that someday. It's literally like the epitome of I have $3 and I'm starting a railroad.
I know there's the that NS line that I think Charlotte, North Carolina just bought, like this right of way, and it's very similar vibes to We Go Star, where it's like single track, short line looking thing. I don't like. There's no way they can get more than like 40-mile-an-hour out of that track without major investment.
Which one is that? Is that the one to the west or something?
I think it's to the north. It's called the Red Line in Charlotte.
Oh, I think they want to build
I
light
forget what the name of
rail.
the NS line is.
I think they want to build
No, they
light
want to do
rail.
actual commuter rail on that.
Oh,
Yeah, that line right there where there's like the spur on the end. There's nothing. Yeah, that goes
this one?
north.
Okay.
Yeah, up to like Davidson. I think that's gonna be commuter rail.
That makes sense because it parallels 77, and I know that like traffic around Charlotte sucks. Um, yeah, I know they bought one of the lines for light rail, or at least someone told me that. I was so annoyed because they are building the Amtrak station downtown, or at least moving it downtown or uptown as it's called. But when I was visiting there for the first time, I took the Crescent down from Philly, and the Amtrak station is an Amshack out here in the Norfolk Southern Yard, and it's the funny part is that the light rail is there next to the yard, but to get to the light rail station, you have to walk around the entire yard, and so it's like you can technically take the light rail from the Amtrak station downtown, but it not really. Um,
Oh.
so when I was there, I just ended up getting like a Lyft or Uber or something downtown with my friend. We were there for like the Strong Towns thing in 2023. But Charlotte, I don't know. The Sun Belt cities are tough because they don't have a culture of riding transit and trains, and it's like frustrating because the local transit stuff is definitely neglected. Like I'm glad the light rail exists because that's like the one shining example there. But for the most part, the buses there, oh, you could definitely tell there was a gap in who rode the buses and who didn't. Where in a lot of Northeast cities, there's not. There's kind of a whole smattering of people and types of people that ride the buses.
Yeah.
And it was funny because like me and my friend, we took the bus to the airport because we were like, there's a bus to the airport. Why would we take like the Uber? And like, I remember telling that to people that lived in Charlotte, and there's like one or two of them looked at me weird, like, why are you taking the bus? So there's definitely like the culture in the Sunbelt cities, I think definitely needs to adapt more to like seeing transit as very useful than a lot of the Northeast cities, or at least it'll be harder to convince people. Because I know even some of the smaller cities in the Northeast, I know since you're at State College, I know there's a decent bus ridership there.
I'm in Altoona.
Oh, Altoona, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that the locomotive
same thing
stuff is there.
Yeah. 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 The buses here are weird because almost no one rides them except for students.
Huh.
And also, it's called Amtran. It's like very, very similar to Amtrak.
That's funny. Is there a bus that runs between Altoona and State College?
I think there's like one a day. Or maybe they do it only on game days. It's not very consistent. There might be like one Greyhound a day.
Okay.
But yeah, if you don't have a car, it is a pain to get to State College.
Yeah, it's I've had multiple people send me plans of like how they would get like rail to State College or whatnot. Basically, some sort of like DMU service from like Altoona or Tyrone up to State College.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't think there's an actual line in State College, but there's one pretty close that they
Uh,
could have like a bus connection or something with.
Let me see. I'm curious because
Because yeah,
maybe
the
there
bus system in State College is pretty robust.
because there I think there was a
Um,
legacy rail line that ran into State College. Oh, I
yeah,
see. Yeah, it kind of
that's
goes
right.
up and around. Let me see.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of that still actually exists. It's
I
interesting. It's
s-
street runs, but like a halfway street runs through Tyrone. That line. It's like it runs in the middle of the street, but it's not like street running where it's you can drive on the track.
I see it just missed. It went through Lamont
Yeah,
instead of State College. Huh. Why is there Norfolk Southern Railroad station location? Oh, okay. So there used to be stuff here. Oh, the line is still kind of there.
yeah,
Okay. But that's frustrating because it comes from the north and you'd have to wrap around, which misses it. I guess you could probably follow 99 in
mm,
um, and just. But that is probably a very hilly section. So I don't know how. You'd need
yeah.
a DMU or something that has a lot of tractive effort to get into, or tractive effort for its size. Um, let's see. Can I see us from Japan? Well, hello from Japan. uh, Used to live by that line years ago. The rails looked used. It just didn't see much action. Yeah, I'm Nittany and Bald Eagle. I don't know how much traffic they have on this.
It's like
I
one train a day.
Oh, that's actually more than I
Yeah, it's
would have
just a
thought.
local.
Okay, but still between
Yeah,
lock,
it's weird. It's
but
actually a really well built line. They do like 50 mile an hour.
oh, I mean it is pretty
Like
straight.
they
So I
come off
guess,
here, they go real slow through Tyrone because they're street running, and then they immediately like rip the throttle.
huh? Yeah, I guess it's pretty straight through the valley there, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
And then it connects with Lockhaven.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. It's something you could probably do something from Tyrone here and then come up and then go along 99 into State College or something. Um,
yeah,
but that's like you just need more service to Altoona first, and then you can service the rest of the stuff.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
um, let's see. Well, any suggestions in chat what we should look at? Because probably wrap it up pretty soon. Has been a little bit of time.
Yeah.
LA Metro A
Oh
line
wow.
extension
When did
opening
we
next
start?
year.
7?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no, it flies by when you're streaming or
Yeah. No, I
answering
was
questions and
not looking at
stuff.
the clock.
State College deserves a dedicated train, not a connector line, in my opinion. I would agree with that, except it's in a really like tough location geography wise for rail, because like say you ran a train from Harrisburg or from Philly to Harrisburg, then to like this area. Where do you go from Tyrone? Do you go north and then to State College? I guess you could do that. But at the same time, you could also stop at Altoona, which is the bigger city nearby, that would probably get more ridership. The other option is you send a train from Harrisburg up to Williamsport and then to Lock Haven and then down to State College.
And that would
So
take forever.
that
Without
would
like a
take
good amount
forever.
of upgrading.
So you're kind of stuck on this one. And that's why I said, like, a DMU would probably be your best bet. Because, like, if you had an hourly or maybe half hourly DMU that ran from downtown Altoona to State College, you would probably get decent amount of ridership because there's probably a lot of people that want to go between State College and Altoona, especially for game day stuff. So I could
Yeah.
see that being quite useful. And, like, so something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I
Yes, I
think
will.
more than that, more importantly, State College needs light rail. Like instead of all the buses everywhere.
Oh, interesting. I don't know too much about the bus network there, but that would make sense.
State College, like downtown State College, is such a cool area. I could totally see there being like a streetcar sort of situation that kind of loops around the city. Like, I don't know if you've ever been, but State College
Oh,
is a
yeah.
very like
It's
yeah
one of the most, I think, to show people. So I've always joked about the fact, like, tech bros and everyone will try to recreate the most walkable city of all time, but they could also just move to Pennsylvania. Because, like, the average Pennsylvania town and city is just incredibly walkable and incredibly dense.
yeah.
Whereas, like,
This is just in the middle of the mountains. Like State College is downtown. State College is great. You go outside of downtown, and it's
yeah, it's
your normal
not
strokes.
not
But
as good, but
downtown
it's
is very special.
it's just the fact that like most college towns like this are generally pretty good. And it's also
Yeah,
the fact like State College is not that big of a town or city, and it has quite tall buildings and quite big a lot of density for the most part.
yeah,
And it's very funny to me because like there are certain West Coast and Sun Belt cities that try their hardest to replicate this kind of stuff and will never even get close.
yeah.
And it's funny because State College is probably one of the denser and more popular areas, but when it comes to Pennsylvania cities, but or small Pennsylvania cities, but all of them are like this, which is the funny part. Also, Chrome is not doing well. All the icons. But yeah, let's see. What else did you chat saying? Yes, I'll look at the Minecraft thing at some point. Let's just downtown Santa Ana one. They need an OC streetcar. Yes, a bunch of places like that do. State College is nice in that area, but becomes kind of suburban-y hell outside of downtown. Agreed.
Yep.
Someone in Baton Rouge, LSU town, it's basically a ghost town. Yeah, some of the southern ones are difficult. It's mainly because of just politics. Newark, Delaware is pretty decent. My city, Portland, is being dumb and doing battery streetcars. I assume Portland, Oregon. I'm not necessarily against battery streetcars. I think that if you run under wire for at least 50% of the route and then you can use battery for whatever else the rest, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that, like, yeah, you should probably electrify the rest of it at some point. How about the Rutgers campus?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Or what were you going to say?
Oh, that's. I was gonna say Tempe streetcars like that in Arizona, where it's on wire sometimes. It goes off the wire to cross under. There's a diamond with the light rail and the streetcar, and it goes off wire for stuff like that.
Oh, that's funny. Huh. I never realized that. I have to look at that. Huh. Oh, I know something I can show you. Did you know there's a diamond between the SEPTA... Hold on, I gotta reload the map. There's a diamond between the SEPTA streetcars and the CSX main.
What?
Yeah, it's called the Derby Diamond.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's sick.
yeah, this is the Derby Diamond. Um,
How do they like dispatch that?
it just the streetcars just follow the like bus rules essentially. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but the funny part is it's a lift frog, so the streetcar just runs directly over the rail. There's no actual diamond here, so the flanges you can
Yeah.
kind of see leave a mark in the railhead.
Go to. I'm curious now to see what the Tempe streetcar one looks like in terms of the actual diamond.
Let me see.
Forget
The funny,
where. Hold on, let me figure out what the actual station is.
yeah, this is the 11, so you get like 15 minutes or less service on these trolleys here, so it sees a lot of traffic.
Oh.
Tempe, Arizona.
What's the name of the station? It's like Mill Avenue in Tempe. It's Mill Ave, 3rd Street is the light rail station, the metro station.
All right, let me
Like a
see.
little to the right. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking about. There's like a diamond between the light rail and the streetcar.
Oh, I see what you mean. Interesting that this is where they chose. I guess it is hard to build diamond interchanges for whatchamacallit, overhead wire. But these look like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a normal diamond where you have
Yeah.
a frog on each. Um, there's a diamond between the Tico streetcar and the NFS north of downtown Tampa. Oh, yeah, I've seen that. The have you seen that? There's a the Tampa streetcar goes over the Amtrak approach.
Oh, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, Tampa, Florida. It's goofy. And it's like an S curve so that it hits it at a 90-degree angle, which is very funny. So here's the Amtrak station. I don't
Yeah.
think the streetcar is marked on transit maps, but if you come up here, there's this diamond here, and that is the streetcar, and it stays electrified over the Amtrak tracks. So yeah, kind of goofy.
That is.
And most Amtrak trains, Tampa's so weird because the silver services have to pull into the station and then back out of the station and Y it, which is so goofy. But
I forget. Is it the Meteor or the Silver Star, or I guess now the Floridian that goes to Tampa? Doesn't only one of them go to Tampa?
no, I think both, unless I'm wrong.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, it's the Floridian now.
I have no
Okay,
idea.
it's just the
Oh, okay.
Floridian. For some reason, I thought it was both of them because I guess one of the silver star misses. Silver Meteor skips Tampa. Yeah. Okay. It's one of the biggest deviations on like an Amtrak route. I don't know
Yeah.
where Brightline will go once
Yeah, that probably
Brightline.
adds like 5 hours.
If Brightline comes to Tampa, I wonder if they'll use Union Station because like they could technically come down the I
think they
four.
wanted- I think they wanted one in the Ybor City area, like a little north of there.
Interesting. I wonder why they just.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I have a problem with Brightline. They just can't use existing infrastructure. They have to always like build their own thing, which whatever. But
Yeah.
like, come on, you just work a little bit with it. They just hate interacting with Amtrak. I think that's really it.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. Yeah, I saw the new Miles video. That was very funny. Does NS share the Raritan Valley Line tracks with NJ Transit? Yes. Well, technically, it's Conrail shared assets. I love that FDOT couldn't come up with something similar to service to California running between Tampa and DeLand. I don't know. Yeah, that's. I mean, Florida just needs more service in general, and the only way that seems to be happening is with Brightline, which is kind of frustrating. In my opinion,
Just
if
Florida being Florida.
yeah, what we do need that Florida does have is we need more auto trains around the country because I have a feeling people would really enjoy having more options like that because like the auto train it runs every day and it's like I think sold out every day and it's one of the
that's a
only
really popular train.
it's one of the only trains that makes Amtrak like it makes a profit too and a significant profit I've heard.
I think I've always thought they need to do like branch line for the auto train to go to the west coast of Florida and serve like because I feel like the main demographic on the auto train, or maybe not the main demographic, but a large demographic is old people. If you go to like Naples, like Fort Myers area, you could get a lot of old people taking that train.
Well, so you have it coming from the Washington D.C. area, the auto train, but I feel like you could also do one that starts in like around like Chicago or Indianapolis and then comes down to Florida because like you could get a shit ton of people doing that also.
For sure.
It's either that or like an east-west one. Like I feel like a lot of people, especially if you were going out west or something, you could start in like the Chicago area and then go to like Denver or something, and there would be a ton of people that would do that, or because no one
Yeah.
likes driving that section.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if they did like a ski train sort of thing, like how they have the ski train out of Denver.
Yeah.
Goes like instead straight to Denver, you can also take it further and go up to wherever the ski slopes are.
Oh, well, if you want something interesting to think about, the Moffat Tunnel. So Moffat Tunnel, I think, was completed in. Let me double check this. Moffat Tunnel. Oop, tunnel. When was this completed? What year? 1928. So Moffat Tunnel was completed in 1928 using state funds, and then was on a 99-year lease with whatever railroad was operating it, which at the time was the Rio Grande, and then the Rio Grande was eventually sold to Southern Pacific, and then to Union Pacific. So notice that year, it's on a 99-year lease. That is 2 years from now. So the state of Colorado is going to come to some sort of new agreement with this freight railroads to probably do a new lease at some point. And they're probably going to haggle for more passenger or something, because they have the option to now, because the lease terms of agreement will change. But because of that, I don't know. I want more trains in Colorado because I think Colorado is very underserved for the most part, and it should look like Switzerland,
Sure.
but doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, Moffat's coming up for lease again, so we're gonna see the something happen with it at least. But yeah, we'll do like one or two more questions if you guys have. Then I think we're gonna wrap things up. Back to Rail Viewer, see everything move. Am I doing super chats? I could. I guess there's one. Send the auto train to Palm Springs, California. It's the Florida of the desert. Old people would like it. Yeah, I've been to Palm Springs. I've been to the. There's a little tramway that's there that goes up into the mountains. Kind of neat. There, let me find it. It has a glass floor on the tram, which kind of freaked me out as a kid. Yeah, Palm Springs aerial tramway. Let me see if someone has a picture of the interior, because the interior of these things is nuts, and the whole thing rotates on the inside, so you get like a panoramic view while you're going up. Where is the interior? There's got to be an interior picture. How is no one taking a picture of the interior? Anyway, it's very cool. If you're ever in Palm Springs, it's definitely the thing to do. I don't know, if you went to Palm Springs, probably you'd want to start somewhere. Probably start somewhere north or something, and then come down. Otherwise, you'd start somewhere east of the Rockies and then come over, I would assume. How is no one taking a picture of the interior of these trams? Let's see. Anyone else have questions? Let's see. Alan, please watch Colorado Rail Potential by Off-Grid Urbanist. Is that the one they talked about, the Tennessee Pass? Because I think I watched that one. The Tennessee Pass, there's some politics related to the Tennessee Pass that honestly deserve its own video, and how the class ones just suck. Because like Union Pacific is purposely holding the Tennessee Pass hostage so that BNSF cannot have it. They're literally doing nothing with it just because of it. For those that don't know, if we look at Rail Guide again, the Tennessee Pass. Where is Colorado? Tennessee Pass is this one right here. It's the one that goes from Gypsum, which you can probably guess why the town is named that, all the way down to Cannon City or Pueblo. Basically, this is the old Rio Grande Mainline, and once UP owned both of these, they ended up using the Moffett route, because it's not as, the grades on it are not as steep as the Tennessee Pass route is. But instead of selling the Tennessee Pass or letting someone else use it, it's entirely just there so that UP can hold it, so that BNSF cannot buy it, which is very dumb.
So do they maintain like the right of way and stuff? Like, are there still tracks there?
Yeah, it's an active rail line. I'm putting that in air quotes, because they can't, but there's nothing runs on it. So like the Vale section is like, where is Vale? How can I am dumb. Why can't I see this? There it is. So there's Vale. I think the Tennessee Pass section is over here. So it is an active rail line. The right-of-way is kind of maintained, but for the most part, it's not really. Like, let's try to find a crossing. It's got to be a grade crossing somewhere. Forget. There's not one that goes through. Yeah, this is it doesn't go through Vale. Where is like a bigger town that goes through? Hold on. Salida, I think is it. Salida, Colorado. Yeah, this is the larger town the Tennessee Pass goes through. Yeah, because Pueblo's over there. Where is like a grade crossing? There's one. Yeah, so this line is technically active, but it's like completely overgrown. If you look at like different parts of it, oh, that's paved over. So like it's technically active, but not really. And UP has kind of abused that whole thing about it being active, is that it's not that active. I think the good question, actually. Why does UP even use the DRGD Moffett route when they have the overland route? They use the DRGW route because the overland route is at capacity at the moment. They also just use... There's a bunch of politics with this, but they use the overland route just to fuck over BNSF, because BNSF has trackage rights over the Moffett route, and UP doesn't want them to saturate it. Class 1 politics are stupid. If you were to build a new LRV route in Philly area using freight right-of-way, what and where would you go? SD trolley, SP... I might do a video on that topic, but there's actually a underground... go back to Philly. There's actually an underground tunnel in Philadelphia that is unused currently, that I think should be like an LRT or subway or metro or something. So, where the Baltimore and Ohio connected with the Reading here, this entire section from roughly, what is this, 27th? Yeah, 27th and down is all in a tunnel. And so this entire section, the B&O section is still used by CSX, but the entire Reading section here in a trench is just not used anymore. Like, the only thing that's there, or notably there, is the rail park, which is going to be the old viaduct turned into a park. But a few of us think that it should be turned into a light rail line, at least like the 33 and the 48 buses that go up here to Strawberry Mansion, Roxborough. They should come down into the tunnel and then turn into a light rail line. It either goes over to the, whatchamacallit, the riverfront, or somewhere into Center City, maybe. But that is a whole discussion for another video, possibly. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. we'll have to do another stream at some point because I think everyone likes the Falmer streams where you can ask all the specific questions, and me and Sam or someone else like Sam, or we'll probably have everyone back on again at some point, can talk and answer specific questions.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. I use the SEPTA subway all the time. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything to add or wrap up with? I don't want to leave you hanging too, Sam.
No, not really.
But yeah, if you don't know his
Really?
if you don't know his channel, it's down in the description. Also, you should definitely check it out. He currently doesn't upload as frequently because of college, but I also don't upload frequently because of various other issues at the moment. But hopefully, I'll be back at it very soon in this coming weekend and week. But yeah, the hopefully also probably going to try to get on a streaming schedule again because it would be cool to at least do one stream a week because there's always something to talk about, and it's much easier to talk on stream with you guys than it is to answer questions here or there, trying to answer everyone's questions, but it's not recorded because cool thing about this is everyone can always go back and scrub through and hear the answer that they want that I might have answered on here that they didn't see on Discord or something. I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll try to schedule these more often again because I do miss streaming more consistently, or we'll try to. But yeah, have a good night, and we'll see you all. See you.